You are listening to Thinking Liberty, your anarcho-bombast podcast. But the bombast is on a bus, on its way here.
No, you filled in the bombast pretty well there. So I suspect
Bombast.
that if Darian wasn't here, you would be enough bombast for everyone.
I doubt that.
No. I mean, you and maybe minus Bile would be great bombast.
All right, so you are listening to Thinking Liberty. You can listen to us at thinkingliberty.net.
Yes, that's thinkingliberty.net.
More importantly, you can find out more about us there because you're probably listening to us already.
I don't know. Maybe they're listening to it afterwards on some, what
Maybe
do you
they're-
call it? LRN.FM.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
maybe they're like listening in their car to the podcast.
Right, or listening to the podcast in someone else's car.
There you go. If
Yeah.
you are listening to the podcast in someone else's car, grab the wheel and veer dangerously to the right now.
Please don't do that.
To the right.
To the
I'm trying
right.
to go to the left, so you in.
Oh, into oncoming traffic?
yeah,
There-
I mean,
that's
if
a
you're
good
gonna
one,
make it
yeah.
interesting, you might as well.
I'm thinking if you're like in the passenger side though, it's easier to pull the wheel than like push, I guess.
or you could pull from the bottom.
Oh
Like
yeah.
you reach over like you're going for the crotch, and then grab the side of the wheel and pull real hard.
Surprise, we're gonna die.
Thinkingliberty.net is indemnified from any responsibility for anything you do. All right, so
Aren't we always?
so what are we even going to talk about today? What happened in the last week? There's probably some news to talk about. There's probably something we want to talk about with, I don't know, alternate hosts and schedules, etc. Because things are going to happen in the next couple of weeks.
Things are happening. We got to talk about pickling too because people
right.
got to start mailing me their pickling stuff.
People have to tickle
I
the
know.
pickle through the mail.
No one sent you anything yet.
No one sent me anything yet. Although I have like a short email list of people that I will just end up begging, be like, please send me the pickled products. You promised."
child if you don't send me your pickled products.
I've got my pickled stuff ready to go. So I guess if nobody enters, I win. Or we like buy a jar of pickles and you guys decide that it tastes better from the supermarket.
That's probably true. Didn't we used to buy in college like giant containers of
yeah,
pickles?
the big ones. Yep.
Didn't we throw one of those giant glass bottles out the redwood floor six floor
we might have
window?
thrown one 6 stories onto a tennis court before. We might have. It wasn't a waste though. It was mostly brine at that point.
I think that had been sitting around for months too. It's a good thing that it's salt.
Yeah, it's brine. It's vinegar and salt, so it just doesn't go bad.
That's some interesting stories you have from your days, your academic days.
We didn't tell you about the guy we hit and then had to kill and hide his body.
No, you did not, and I did not hear that. So.
Everything we can do wrong on the radio, we're going to do in this one
I
episode.
don't know. There's at least a few more words that we can't say, right?
Yeah, we haven't said anything bad.
Yeah.
Well, okay, we've said things that are bad. We haven't said any words that are naughty.
All right, there you go. So the FCC.
We can
Thank you.
still say them.
Yeah,
I mean,
we probably shouldn't though. Okay.
fleeting, as long as it's fleeting.
Yeah.
There you go.
What time Darian say he was getting in here?
All right, so we've also got beer to drink
We
today.
do.
too.
What do you?
Oh,
all right.
God.
You have one
Not again.
special shaped bottle and one
They're both kind of.
we have one well designed bottle. I like this one. It says Dogma Brew Dog, product of Scotland.
Is it made with dogs?
It might
Maybe.
be. It might be like how Guinness is. We know they have dogs swimming around in the thing, and that's how they get the Guinness. So
Please don't tell me that's from.
yeah. So what do we have? Banana bread beer. Apparently,
Yep.
it's
I
from
like banana bread.
from Wells.
I'm gonna predict it doesn't taste like banana
All
bread
right.
though.
Would you like a liquefied alcohol infused banana bread, 5.2% alcohol by volume?
If it was liquefied banana bread,
Do you know
then
there's
maybe.
actually like legit banana beer? Like there's a type of beer that's
I'm
made
not surprised.
from fermenting bananas as the primary source. So
Is
it's
it from Jamaica?
Probably not.
I think it's from South America, but it's technically a liquor at that point. It's not really a beer, but there is that. But yeah, okay. So our beers that are competing today, I've always wanted an excuse to try this banana bread beer.
So you've gotten on the boat, the banana boat.
I'm looking at it. I'm like, all right. So I've got to verse it against some other like weirdo fruit beer. So today is the battle of the weird crap that might not should possibly be in beer. That's good English right there.
Yeah.
So things that you shouldn't necessarily make beer out of. That's what our competition is today.
Okay.
Listeners, this is remember Bosco's a school teacher.
Might not should. So we've got banana beer versus this other one is
Rage.
honey, cola nut, poppy seed, and guarana.
Guarana.
In this one, yeah.
All
What
right.
was that second one? Cola nut?
Cola nut. I don't even know what that is. Is that what they make cocaine from?
No.
Damn. I want my money
Coca
back.
Leaf. Yeah, but they do have cola with cola nuts. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Well, when we get there. So what did happen this week?
Where's my knife?
Nothing really.
There was-
a guy lost his knife apparently.
Yeah, I apparently lost my knife. I think the chair ate it. It's got the bottle opener on it.
Oh, they had.
I do have bottle opener too.
Oh, that doesn't solve the knife problem.
Oh,
there
there
it
it
is.
Um,
Yeah, they had NYC ANCAP this last Sunday. Which
We
was
had a meetup,
which was nice.
whatever we call it. Yeah. That was downtown. What else was downtown that I
Apparently,
seem
there was
unable to
this
find.
Occupy Wall Street thing that was going on, but apparently they're not actually on Wall Street per se, in front of, say, like the stock exchange, because that was blocked off and that prevented them from doing that. But I think that they were in some park somewhere, Zucchini Park or something.
Yeah. So I went. I was going to go on Saturday to see them trying to set up,
All right.
but I was lazy.
Yeah.
So I was also supposed to go to Maker Faire. That
Oh,
was up
yeah,
in
yeah,
Queens. I'm like,
Right.
It's
It's not that far.
I stayed home and watched Star Trek Next Generation all day.
All right, you got to be
I'm
done
on-
with that by now.
No, I'm in the 7th season.
Okay.
I'm not going to go into what episode I'm on. I'm on like the 4th episode or something,
right.
the 7th season. So I'm almost done.
Yeah.
Deep Space Nine is coming up.
Oh gosh.
In any case, yeah. So I didn't go in Saturday. I went in Sunday a little early before the ANCAP meetup,
Yeah.
and walked. I work downtown Manhattan. I work at right outside the South Ferry,
Right.
so I'm very familiar with this location. Like I grabbed lunch today just at Flavors, which is 5-minute walk from Wall Street.
Right.
And so I go to that area, and they've got it all blocked off, and they're not letting anyone in. So I take some photos.
Mm-hmm.
Then I go around to the side, and they've got that all blocked off. And I take some photos, and there's all these tourists walking around trying to get in. And I overhear the cops saying that, oh, yeah, there's these protesters, and they're peaceful, but if they start doing like disobedient stuff and like blocking people from businesses on Monday, that's going to be a problem. So we have to block it all off today, so they can't like entrench themselves.
Right. Right.
And so the tourists were like, some of them were sympathetic, and some of them were freaking out, like, what the hell's wrong with these people? This is a Hooverville. They're not going to get jobs from this, doing this.
Hooverville.
So then I went around, continued to go around. I noticed that like one Chase Plaza was also all barricaded off.
Okay.
And
Yeah, I walked past that place too. It's like, why are the barricades away from Wall Street? But apparently they were there too. So.
and then so they had pretty much everything blocked off, unless you were trying to go to a business that happened to be like in that square a little bit.
Then you'd have to, go to the officer and say that you either live here or have certain business here that was, pre-scheduled. I tried actually going down Wall Street for a bit, and the officer said, no, only if you live here. It's like, okay. So after the ANCAP meetup, me and Elizabeth, we were walking towards the Ground Zero memorial that had been built up, so maybe we could get access to it now, because on 9/11 we couldn't actually get in there. Well, I couldn't. I don't know about anybody else. But as we went there, apparently you need some sort of, registration. So it's like a ticket. You don't have to pay, but it's something. And so we go over there, and we can't really get in. So we just kind of walk around it, and we see, it looks pretty nice from the outside. Looking at the Freedom Tower, it's some good-looking stuff, and that's pretty much the entire time.
Yeah. So as I walked around, I didn't find the protesters.
Neither did I. Oh wait, I found dancing people though. I don't know whether they were the protesters or not.
I have no idea.
Exactly.
But I couldn't find the protesters. Apparently they were on like the next street over, and they weren't very loud, so I didn't hear them.
Mm-hmm.
I know some other people did run into them. So I worked there. I was there today. I was there yesterday. I didn't get around to walking into Wall Street area.
Right.
I imagine it must be open.
So I figured
because
yesterday would have been the ideal day. Like they were gonna, really move for Saturday, Sunday, Monday, but not Tuesday. Like it was over Monday.
Oh, I would think that if you wanted to disrupt what was going on, if you wanted to like encamp yourself on Wall Street, which is, I guess, what they intended to do, and stay there for a couple months.
A couple months.
You have to like surgically get in there, because clearly, if you're going to announce it on the internet that the NYPD is going to stop you, so I mean, maybe these people don't own nice clothing. That's certainly a possibility. But put on a collared shirt and some slacks. Show up Monday morning Well,
Just
if you
wow.
look at some of the way that some of these protesters were dressed,
put on some
No,
real shoes, socks, brush your teeth.
I just-
get a
that's
haircut.
that's not what I
shave.
said.
I just have visions of like next anarchist book fair. I'm gonna like make a booth and it's gonna be labeled ANCAP and it's gonna have you behind plexiglass and you're gonna sit there and you could be like, why don't you wash your damn poncho, comb your
Seriously.
hair, and brush your teeth, and then you'll be an anarchist with money.
See, that-
called an anarcho-capitalist.
That's kind of like my own particular thing with the ANCAP.
You wanted to hand out toothpaste.
Yes.
I remember.
I just I couldn't deal
Those are
with
my
that.
people, man. I love those people. They're not always the smartest.
Yeah,
Or
I mean,
have a full set of teeth. Or
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
well, either way. I mean,
And
I remember.
anyway,
Yeah, Occupy Wall Street.
So occupying Wall Street by subversively dressing the part, walking in there Monday morning with rush hour to Nicey, then just going hand to hand. Maybe bring your own zip tie cuffs. Zip tie yourself to the random barricades they have around there anyway. And do it. You just turned down my headphones, Darian.
Yeah, Darian's here now. He's screwing stuff up.
shit up.
And he's
Well, that's what I do.
there you go.
there
See?
we go.
That was
the
Darian
bombast
right
is
there.
here.
Yeah, and so like zip tie yourself to a bunch of the barricades, and if you've got a couple hundred of you, there's a couple hundred people walking around anyway in the morning, and you wouldn't, if you're dressed the part, no one would be able to tell the difference. So if I was walking to work through Wall Street, they'd probably capture me because I probably would look just like the rest of them.
They can clip zip ties though. You got to do like the
Yeah, I know, but I'm
chaining
just saying something quick, so it's
Okay.
or just grab someone who isn't part of you. Then maybe you wouldn't be able to tell because everyone's dressed the same. But whatever.
Just kidnap somebody.
Just be subversive,
Yeah.
like be a little bit more imaginative than taking
doing
Signs on pizza
exactly the
boxes?
same thing
Think-
they always do every time.
and announcing it ahead of time. I mean, if
You
they can
gotta
if they can
do
do it in
something.
Egypt with Twitter, why can't we do it here?
They could, but it's not really that much of an issue here. So when it is a real issue, then
Yeah, it's not that
Yeah.
terribly popular here.
Yeah, it's not
It's not
really
that terrible here yet.
Exactly.
either.
It's like it's not even so much
Yeah,
of
but
an issue.
I mean, as a means to bring themselves together, like as a means of communication. Instead,
Yeah, they don't
Anonymous went on YouTube and said, "Hey, everybody, let's all camp out on Wall Street."
Yeah,
they
I
have to
mean,
make
the-
that kind of announcement
and the
beforehand because
cops-
it's not a problem yet.
But the cops explicitly said that the reason they were there was because it was announced. So they set up barricades before the planned event.
So if I announce like for spots all over the city, could we totally distract the police?
Probably.
in New York, probably. In New York, you could probably cost people millions and millions of dollars
And
just
that
by
is-
saying you're going to
yes.
protest.
But
And
they'll
that is
probably
how
have
we can get
extra
the
cops
gold.
still.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
how we can get the gold out of the building because they'll be totally distracted by that time.
They'll
right.
probably keep the extra
Mr.
cops they
Gruber.
hire too. We could do it in school buses.
Well, yeah, I mean, the announcing things ahead of time is a little weird. Just and then they had like all their plans like online. It's like, well, I'm not really sure where you're going with this. Like,
They
why?
should have just called up Z100 after that and said, there was a whole thing going on, and then everybody would have found out later on. That would have been enough.
Well, also, I'm not really sure why Saturday. I guess to get a lot of people out.
Don't have to go to work.
But it wasn't part of the, like, a lot of people there said they didn't even have jobs. They,
Oh,
they
yeah,
were
that's
planning
right,
on being
that's
there for
right.
months. So clearly
For months, literally?
that's what if you watch the anonymous video.
Yeah, I
it
didn't watch the video. I read the
it said
website.
months.
Yeah.
They wanted to be like semi-permanent, like a Hooverville. They wanted to be there for a while.
All right.
Central
Hey,
Park
did you
would be a
read
better spot.
the thing on the website where they had a modest proposal where they're talking about what it is that they're talking? Well, I linked to it on I think it was the NYC ANCAP page, and it's I mean, a lot of it is very much agreeable. I agree with a whole lot of it. There's minor things that I disagree with. But those are things that I could probably talk to them about. But the major stuff
is
we
this-
were simpatico about.
Is this from the protest organizers, or is this just
This is from
people?
whatever website called themselves OccupyWallStreet.org. I don't know who it is that they represent or whatever it is, but they are talking about themselves. They say we represent ourselves and we don't claim to represent anybody more than ourselves. So I don't know who themselves really are.
See, here's the thing. I mean, a lot of people are criticizing this. They don't really know what they want. They don't have a clear agenda. I actually see that
They have
as a
really-
positive thing.
They have
There's
really
no
bad signs.
There's no particular, agenda. But there's a clear message that people are fed up with what's going on. They're fed up with elite control of political and economic elites. And what that translates to in practice is something that they're figuring out as the occupation goes along, as they have assemblies, figure out what people want. And I think in America, we're accustomed to seeing protests fit this model of controlled by some element of the political class or some professional demonstrators. And this is not what's happening here. It's more of a genuine populist thing, which means that's going to be less focused, but I think more genuine in the long term.
All right. I don't really know what to characterize it as because I don't know enough about the content of the protesters, but whatever.
Did you go up there, Darian?
I was there for a little bit.
What'd you see?
Did you find them?
Yeah, I mean, they're in Zuccotti Park. That's their
Park.
camp
Not
area.
Zucchini Park.
Zucchini
I
Park.
would say Zucchini Park.
That would have been much tastier.
It sucks though.
It's,
Whatever.
it's a pizza park. Apparently, there's a lot of pizza. I had some of the pizza, and it was pretty good. So that's good.
Darian reports back saying the pizza is pretty good. So if you want to go
Manhattan
down there,
is good. The pizza
Yes.
on the West Coast stinks. Good. Taking Liberty over. That's the summation of what, 3 years?
no, LA pizza was okay. All right, but yeah, so the pizza is pretty good at this place. So if you were planning on protesting and occupying Wall Street, that is important information.
Important information. There will be pizza,
There
and
will
it will
be
be
blood.
good. There's good pizza too. So
But were
That's
people selling it?
no, it was donated.
Oh, okay. All right.
And they actually, so many people ordered pizzas online that they were carting it in on a hand truck, which I have a picture of. So that's cool. I don't know if they got any use out of the tarps that I donated. I think the police basically tore them away as soon as it started raining so that people would get all their equipment and stuff rained on. But, that's what the police do is
Tear up tarps.
tear up tarps.
Well, we
wreck
don't
things.
all have hats with nice little plastic bags on them like the cops, so we don't all stay dry when it rains.
We don't all
Seriously,
put
their hats
plastic
look
bags
terrible.
over
They
in the
do.
rain.
I mean, they got a little, what is it called? A shower cap on top of their cap.
They should just put a plastic bag over their head. I hear that's the best way to stay dry.
One that's not very tight, apparently. Question. Did they get the water that they were looking for? I heard that they were.
I was seeing tweets about them not having water, but there was they're just buckets and buckets of water and water jugs there.
Yeah.
From the chat room, it's a tarp.
Tarps. Tarp. Get it? The tarp?
And the
No.
tarp. Yeah. Good
It's
jokes.
financial.
Well, yeah,
Street.
yeah. But yeah, I don't. I mean, you could just walk right into the park. It's not like there, it was difficult to get in and out. So I'm sure people could have just brought in water if that was an issue. I don't really know if there were even spigots in the park. It's not really that big, so I would expect that there wouldn't be.
I might have passed that park by on the way home.
It's on Liberty Street. It's like just on the southern tip of the World Trade Center complex, and then you go a little bit east.
Yeah, there's a tunnel like right on the side of the park.
I don't think there's a tunnel.
Well, I'm on some other park then.
There's a lot of parks.
There
one,
are,
but
but you can't park there.
no.
I know.
But
It's
I
crazy,
think
right?
I don't know. I think it's kind of cool that they did set up something there that they can stage protests from. We'll see what gets staged from there, and also to have this annoying little presence.
How many
that
people
people
are
have
there?
to look at? Well, I don't know how many people are there now. There were definitely over 100 when I was there, and like I said, it's open, so it's hard to tell exactly who was protesting and who wasn't at that point because there wasn't a march staged at the time I was able to go there.
Okay.
But there's a significant number of people there.
Yeah, all they got to do now is probably start arresting like 5 people a day. Not even really arresting them, taking them, booking them, or anything. Just grab 5 of them, put them in a car, drive them all the way uptown, and then that's it. Every day. Don't take a bunch of people. Don't mass
Their
arrest
MTA
people.
You are
card.
so damn negative over here.
I know, and then
Giving
all
the cops tips.
Yeah, I mean,
Arrest 5 of them a day.
sometimes they're not
Get
very
a new hat.
Yeah, they're not very creative. So
I'm a better anarchist by sitting around.
exactly.
I was told by a
rather than
coworker.
sitting around outside of Wall Street, that's the reason. See, that is exactly what they're going to do. That's going to accomplish things.
I was told by a coworker that last night they had as many cops out as protesters. He
See?
didn't,
Well,
It's
he didn't
New
say how
York.
many.
That makes
Isn't that
sense.
usually
Well,
what happens?
No, because when I was there Sunday, there were maybe in total around the entire block a dozen cops.
Yeah, there were definitely more when I
And there was
there.
a hell of a lot more protesters, from what I understand, on Sunday.
Every time.
Well, there are actually people working there during the week, so that's probably a concern also.
Yeah, but this was like 8:30 at night.
Every time I go to New York, it always seems like there's more cops. I'm always amazed by that. Like
You're
there's
going to the
there's
wrong
blocks
places,
and there's
dude.
more cops than pedestrians, and I'm just like, really? Just like one cop car after another, and I'm like, where's the police station? There's no police station.
You should come to work with me sometime, and I have a great vantage point because I'm in, at the South Ferry, and the cops. I don't know what the hell they do, but regularly they line up dozens of cop cars on the sidewalk, like at an angle, 2 cops per car, all down like One New York Plaza, which
Yeah.
is a pretty big block. I mean, it's not as big as like an avenue or anything, but it's pretty big.
Well,
And
every
they're
time.
on both sides of the street and around the corner, and then they leave all at once, like, and then they shuffle
Getting their
out.
swagger on.
I really have no idea what they've done.
They
They've been doing
invented
it.
swag.
They've been doing it for years, and I don't know what they're doing.
See, I really have there's no appeal for me to go to New York because it costs money to go there, and then it costs more money to do stuff when you're there, and then to get out costs money, and it's full of cops. Like it just there's not a lot of good there.
But you're already halfway rich, so it doesn't really matter. It's not the money thing. It's the cops thing. That's what really bothers
the
me.
cops bug me too, but I mean, like I look at like the food and stuff I get there, and it's like, okay, I know a place where I could get this same kind of meal, but better for less money at the price I'm eating in New York. Now, granted, if I was looking for like $60 a plate and up, there's nothing that would compare to the cuisine that you have actually inside Manhattan.
Or variety.
But when you're looking for $5 and down,
I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Here
I
in
can find that
Edgewater,
too.
here in Edgewater, we got a pretty good selection.
Yeah. I can find pretty much anything I want. I can find affordable
Anything
meals.
you want.
I can find affordable
Anything you
meals.
want.
Yeah, I can find affordable meals. I can find expensive meals. I can find affordable clothing. I can find expensive clothing. I can find places with plenty of cops. I can find places with no cops at all, even if you'd want a cop to be there.
It's a small island, dude.
Yeah, I know. It's
You
amazing.
can walk the whole thing. How can you go from like a place with tons of cops to no cops?
It's amazing. That's the kind of place that the city is, though. It's just that I can find places that have no cops at all, a place where you could be totally physically assaulted or robbed or something, and you'd hope, like, okay, maybe there's a cop around I could talk to, but no, you'd actually have to go somewhere else.
You'd have to
where
get on the
cops aren't.
subway, go 20 minutes south, and then maybe.
Yeah. See, but then you could be in a place like where I used to live in Manhattan, up in East Harlem, where
I
cops are everywhere.
I like this spot you lived actually.
Yeah, it
when
was
we
a cool
when we
place.
came up there. I was
Yeah.
like, all right, this isn't bad.
Yeah.
The parts I really don't like is like I really don't like Times Square.
Right? Yeah, you
places
can't
like
go
that.
there.
You didn't
can't-
have
I
to
can't
work
do it.
there for 4 years.
Oh, I'm glad. My dad, who used to work in the city for like over 20 years of his life, like just does not want to go back, like ever. Like he
Every
avoids
time I
it.
have to go into Times Square, like above ground, because I'm in there every day
Yeah.
underground. But when
when I have to emerge to the surface.
it's awful. Like Darian, your girlfriend, she always goes above ground to go from one station to the other. I don't know. I wouldn't do that, even though it
Yeah, but it
smells
sucks
underneath.
underground too.
Yeah, I know, but it sucks less. There's not tourists. Well, not as many tourists. There's just people trying to get the hell to the other side of the subway.
This is
station.
why you got to get your walking stick so you can poke people in the back of the neck when you're walking.
This is why you need one of those
You know how
NYPD
bony I am?
tricycles.
That's my arm.
Yeah, not long enough. Though. You got to be in a plausible deniability zone. So you're like this far away, and then all of a sudden you can look away.
Do you know how
Yeah.
packed it can get in there sometimes? You
Yeah.
do. So like, I just like throw an elbow and someone thinks it was the girl like 4 feet over.
They're throwing bows, pretending to be a girl.
This is why you need a gun. Open carry NYC. This will go well.
Well, there are already people open carrying guns in there, so it may as well. But they usually have uniforms.
They usually have little
So-
plastic
so-
things on their hats.
So get a uniform and a plastic
Yeah,
thing
there you
on
go.
your hat.
Get a baseball cap and like a shower cap to put over it, and then carry an assault rifle.
I'm not telling you to impersonate a police officer. I just mean any uniform.
And I'm not telling you to shoot somebody, but if somebody tries to shoot you, shoot them.
Just you know, a
of
McDonald's uniform.
Who wears a white uniform with a red hat? Or like white with red trims and a red hat?
Crossing guards?
Like full
Like
white uniform.
Collecting money, kind.
No, it
The
was
Salvation Army.
It was
like
like a nice
Guardian Angels?
It was nice. It was a nice. So on Sunday,
Got a red jacket and a
Wait,
red
don't
beret.
On
don't
Sunday-
like
Okay.
the really fancy like upper level cops wear white shirts sometimes.
maybe it was a
Super
full
cops.
full white
Without
full
Jackie
white
Chan.
uniform
Full
and a
white
red
uniform.
because
Jackie
there was a
Chan
guy
Super Cop.
standing and so they have the bull I don't know if they do now
Yeah.
still, but on Sunday they had the bull
was
gated
totally
off,
locked.
and there was like 5 cops guarding the bull, and one of those
And
cops,
one of those
freaking
cops had a
stupid.
giant red, a red, like, whatever the hell flag thing that the bull chased.
No,
Is that what happened?
no,
none of that.
No.
So continuing.
I'm saying that
The
one of the
guy-
guys there was wearing an all white suit with a red hat, and I couldn't get close enough because they wouldn't let you near.
was the
Maybe he was a
shape of the
drug
hat?
dealer.
Round like circle with a
All right, so
thin brim
It
that
looked
was-
more like a police officer's cap.
yeah, like a British police officer.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of those in the city, and I don't know what exactly they are. They might be visiting or adjunct policemen from some other place.
Maybe because it was totally out of.
Right, but with
Place.
the red as compared to something else, I don't know.
Obamunism.
Yeah, it's probably not that.
All right.
Probably not that.
Yeah.
So speaking of
But I've seen
cops,
crossing guards wear something like that.
I saw a New Jersey Transit cop with a rifle today. I've
Yeah?
never
What kind
seen
of rifle?
one of those. I believe an AR-15.
Was it
Oh,
3D
okay.
printed?
No.
Yes. The whole thing. Never been fired. Could work though. Might
Yep.
work once.
See, then you can get it. Only drop once. Come on, get it.
Well, that's why you need laser guns because
Those are
then,
terrible.
then you can make the entire thing out of plastic because that would work.
Yeah, but laser guns are terrible.
Currently, yeah.
I don't know.
it's
They
not,
worked in Moonraker.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You want a real projectile weapon. Tossing solid things, not photons or concentrated light. That's very wasteful. For the energy investment, that's what you want. It'll just totally kill.
You want a
someone.
maser gun that you can just
No,
point
no.
at people's genitals and
No.
hold it down for a couple seconds until they notice. Like, oh, where'd it go? No.
You put the maser gun on the lungs, and then all of a sudden they boil from the inside. Yeah,
Like the Expando Ray from Duke Nukem.
Yes.
yeah. Okay.
Just like
Back
Duke
when
Nukem.
Duke Nukem was cool.
Everything's like Duke Nukem. I actually played the new one. It was
awesome.
terrible.
It was the most awesome game ever.
it was really
Yeah, see,
really
you
rough.
said it was
hard to
terrible,
play.
and like you gave me like a quick description of how it starts. I was like, all right, that sounds pretty bad. And I read the full review of it. I was like, wow, this sounds like the worst video game ever made.
It really
Which clearly it's not, but
it's hard to describe it. Like, I'm not a fan of first person shooters on consoles, probably because I haven't played enough of them. So I'm still thinking back to like Quake 2. That's the last time I really played a first person shooter. So I'm struggling with that to play Duke Nukem.
speaking of
and
which,
it's bad.
I was talking about the H&C mod to Quake 2 today.
oh boy, the drunk mod.
Yeah, they thought it was really funny at work. In college, Bosco and I and some of our friends made this mod for Quake 2 that was supposed to be like us in college. So there was, rather than health and stuff on the ground, you picked up bottles of Jack Daniels and MD 2020, and you would get drunk and start wavering around. But you got stronger. You got like muscle strength or drunk strength. So if you could hit someone, you did more damage. And we had all these like makeshift weapons that we had in our dorm room as the
There's a vomit button, which would lower your alcohol level, allow you to see a little bit clearer, but your strength would go down.
This is really elaborate.
It was.
It's
It
good.
was. We had like all these different weapons. We replaced the bottle or the like grenade launcher with you threw like Jack Daniel bottles, and we had the
Now
chain
you're throwing
whip.
Jim Beam
Yep.
bottles.
We had a chain whip. We took a dog toy and put the aluminum spacers.
It's hanging on my wall right now, actually, the chain whip.
So it's a dog toy, with the hell tennis ball. at
Tennis
the
ball
end.
on the end of a rope,
Yeah.
basically.
So we took off the tennis ball fell off or whatever, and we took the aluminum spacers from a large SCSI hard drive and tied them to the end. So you would whip this thing, and these aluminum round things would come at you.
Now, that's an inspiration to go to college for the youth of America.
You too can double major in computer science and physics, and graduate extended time, and then become a school teacher
There you go. Just what you always wanted to do.
or work on Wall Street and sell out.
You didn't sell out.
You bought in.
There you go. We're cashing in.
Okay, makes it sound better.
so-
We get it's.
I think we were talking about something here about Duke Nukem.
It was about me eventually selling out to Monsanto.
I can't wait for that
I'm
to
still
happen.
waiting for that.
No, Monsanto's not the. No.
You're gonna give me lots of GM foods, right?
I could, yes,
Cool.
but
Like,
will I? Because you're going to want that golden rice in a couple of years.
Speaking of
When you
which,
start
when's
going-
Bosco going off to the Marines?
You start going blind.
I want to see this pacifist start murdering people.
Again,
It'll be good fun. They'll give you all the guns you want
I doubt that.
and all the ammo.
Well, if you start
Actually, the
sniper
Marines have a
training-
waiting list. Did you know that? Currently, the Marines are sitting with a waiting
All
list.
you really need of the Marines is the sniper training. That's the
I imagine
whole thing that you
Bosco
want.
like Private Pile.
There's actually like a
This is my gun.
what is it? It's like a Winchester 800. It's a 50 cal Winchester. It's supposed to be a
Is
really
it the
nice,
quote here from the
nice
review?
rifle.
Says there's no easy way to put this. Duke Nukem Forever is shockingly, embarrassingly bad. Not ironic bad, not campy bad, not even fascinating bad. Just bad, as in unpleasant to play and watch. As in, please save your money.
It really is. I played
That's
through the
from the
demo
New
and
York Times review.
I quit in the middle of the demo. Like after 10 minutes, I was like, screw this. And then finally I beat the demo and I picked it up and started playing it again. I'm like, this thing needs a fair shake. And I was like, no. And then I stopped.
The
I'm not
first
that
shake
much
was
of a-
fair enough.
Yep. All right. You guys want to do some beer? Because once again, I have to drive some people home. So if I don't start drinking soon.
Do some beer. You sound like an
Do some beer?
after-school special.
Yes.
You guys want to do some beer?
Don't
Don't worry, it's just a beer.
I hate you.
Are you a wimp?
hate you so much.
No, you're a turkey.
I'm not chicken. You're a turkey. All right. So this is the 99 bottles of beer segment brought to you by
It looks pretty in the. Oh yeah, by Fix Brewing.
Fix Brewing. There we go.
I was
That was a
distracted
better
by
sponsor.
the pretty
the
The
color.
Red Dog bottle.
the plan for today is wacky BS beers. So these are both beers that maybe you shouldn't have made this beer. They both qualify technically as fruit beers. I prefer to call them fruit beers. This first one that we're going to try
They're
is
electronic.
Wells Banana Bread Beer, and it says on the label beer brewed with bananas. Kind of makes you wonder.
I
if-
like bananas.
If you have to specify that it's brewed with bananas, that's bad. All right, so here you go, Lyle. I'm going to give you some more advice because you always have trouble with this.
I think I
So-
could do a better job of
Has no head.
making something with bananas than these people.
Start
did.
with appearance.
Like an
What's the
awesome
appearance
smoothie.
look like?
It's a nice.
It's not a smoothie.
It's like 3 times darker, 4 times, maybe 5 times darker than like a random ale, and a little red, little brown. It's could be a little bit darker.
Okay.
But it looks nice. Like from a distance, it looks nice. There's clearly from a distance you couldn't tell that there's carbonation in it.
All right, now
But
smell.
now, it's got no head. It smells like banana,
Okay.
sort of like banana bread actually,
All right, now
which makes sense.
that makes sense. Now your taste.
I made banana bread once, and it was really hard. It took me like twice as long as I was supposed to because
It's a sweet bread, dude. It's easy to make.
You should go
easy for
get
you.
the banana nut bread mix from Trader Joe's. It's awesome, as is most of their mixes.
I would go to Joe's, but he's a traitor.
Damn trader.
I know. So tasty, Bile says, and what else?
I don't know if I'm only just still smelling the banana. I don't think I taste the banana.
Okay. What about?
Close your eyes too.
I don't know. It's not bad.
All right. What
Like,
about?
or- It's not like normal beer bad. I mean, it still tastes like beer, but it's got less of a beery. I don't even know how to describe it.
What about mouthfeel? What's the carbonation feel like in your mouth? What's it feel like in your mouth?
Like not very much. Yeah, there's not much carbonation.
All right. Lastly, overall.
Oh, I don't know.
Oshkosh?
I don't know.
That's a terrible ending.
It's probably one of the better ones I've had. It might be the best one I've had so far.
Do you want to try some, Darren?
Darian does
it
want to
tastes
try
like
some.
bananas.
All
It
right.
doesn't really taste
So
like bananas.
start with your
Oh, it
appearance.
just doesn't taste like bananas. That's lame.
I taste it like as I breathe out.
All right,
It
Darian.
smells like bananas.
All right, you got
Darren,
the smell. What's the
close your
appearance?
eyes, smell it, taste it. Close your eyes though.
I'm not closing
You
my
gotta
eyes.
close
What
your
is
Speak
this
into his
crap?
ear.
It's the
I
only
did that
way you can
last week.
concentrate.
Close your eyes. Then we're all going to punch
Close
you in
your
the
eyes.
gut.
Your eyes.
Everyone at the same time.
Open your mind.
No.
Yes. Go.
Go.
Hippies.
Do it.
What's this other beer?
It's really weird.
Squinting is not closing your eyes.
He
like
squinted
sour.
after he drank
I
it.
know.
All right.
He's
What's
squinting on the way. Look at it. Look how squinty he is right
what's the
He's always
mouthfeel on
now. I
that?
know.
It's just sour.
I'm going to start using that phrase all the time. What's the mouthfeel on that, Darren?
Yeah, it's just sour.
It's just sour. Okay.
That's all.
And when someone
That's all I'm
asks
getting.
you, what the mouth feel is, you just start licking a doorknob or something.
Yeah. Pangiphony, right? Close your eyes and taste my banana.
Just
beer.
start moaning. All right, yeah. So we're looking at like a darker amber color, almost like a hint of red in there.
Much better thing to do with banana is make a smoothie, especially if you get some frozen blueberries and some Greek
It smells
yogurt in
like
there.
bananas, but it kind of smells like bananas in the way runts smell like bananas. Like this is what
Oh,
bananas
yes.
should smell like,
Okay,
but not
yeah.
necessarily bananas.
You know what I really like in the summer when it's really hot out? Instead of getting like ice cream bars or something,
Yeah.
buy bananas, buy like a container of lemon
Liquid
or
nitrogen.
lime juice.
Okay.
Take a plastic bag, peel the bananas, throw them in the bag, put some lemon juice in there, make sure it's covered all the bananas, and then just put it in the freezer. And then just eat them.
That sounds pretty good.
They should be really ripe because afterwards, when you start to chew on the frozen banana, it's like soft. So it's a really good way to cool down.
All right, it's got an aftertaste like banana. It tastes like a pretty normal, crappy ale before that. And it's kind of dry towards the end. So overall, I'd say it tastes like something that you mix banana flavoring in. And I would
But
not.
do you actually taste any banana? Like
Yeah.
I
I mean,
don't
it's-
taste it in my mouth. I taste it like as I breathe out, I can smell the banana.
Yeah, I mean, I taste it kind of afterwards, not so much in it.
That's what I just said.
Okay.
Then you
well,
do
I
agree
mean,
with
taste
me.
it, not necessarily in my nose. I mean, like the
okay.
taste
You
part.
didn't taste it in your nose.
It's got a really warm mouthfeel too, kind of boozy, which I don't know why. It's not really boozy, so it's just warm. Okay, so your competition number 2 is Brewdog Dogma, ale brewed with honey, cola nut, poppy seed, and guarana, and it comes from
dogs.
Scotland.
Colon nuts.
Now with dogs. Okay.
I would certainly try that.
With dog?
Do they make
a
beer
pretty big bottle.
from like animal,
I don't know.
like animal flavor now with more cat?
He would know.
Do they brew beer
not that
inside
I
of
know of.
animals?
I doubt. Actually, isn't it like cows or something can and similar animals the
Ferment things in their gut.
yeah, and
I think so.
that's why they smell so bad when they burp and stuff.
Huh.
I don't know.
It's also
I should
just
know
like
this. I grew up in the middle of farm country.
You should know everything
Did
about
you
what you can do
see-
with a cow.
Yeah.
Did you see any drunk animals?
I've
in your
never
time?
gone. I've never gone. I have seen drunk animals.
It's funny
people,
as hell.
Yeah, people giving beer to like dogs and stuff. But I've never gone cow tipping.
Yeah,
It's not
that's a
very
bad
nice.
idea.
Yeah, it's not very nice either.
Yeah.
That's got a lot of head.
Indeed.
Beer to dogs
got
isn't a great idea
got a
either, by the
soda.
way.
This is the soda one, so I guess.
Okay, so this has a lot of stuff in it.
And it has the same color as
There you
the
go.
other one.
Start with appearance.
The appearance. It looks a lot like the other one. The bubbles are sticking to the side of the container more, but that could be because it's plastic. It's in our fancy
Pork Fest?
Pork Fest blinking mug thingy.
He's not blinking right
All right,
now.
how about smell?
I think I just got some up my nose.
Dude, you want to snort some beer?
Yeah, I
But
just
in
got foam
health
up my
class,
nose.
they said that could be addictive.
They always name the teacher in those movies. In health class, Dr. Johnson, great name for a
Yeah.
teacher, said that we shouldn't snort beers.
Dr. Jimmy? No, Dr. Willie Johnson.
Dr. Willie Johnson. All right.
How
we're-
is it?
We're up to taste. What's the taste like?
Yeah.
He says it's delicious.
It's blah, blah.
It's blah.
All right.
It's making me react kind of like the that Sam Adams did.
Oh, you really didn't like that one.
Yeah, it's a lot like that. We have to compare them after the show or something.
What's the mouth feel like?
No, it really like is awful.
All right,
What's it feel
Darian.
like inside your mouth?
I don't
Like
think I wanna-
awful. I can't. Ugh.
Yeah, Darian hit this.
I'm not sure I want to put this in my mouth.
Yeah.
Like,
The things
do
that I
it.
don't like
He's
about
like
beer
the,
is just like
Exemplified in this?
he's
like
like
really, really potent compared to
just
the other one.
sick.
That's like water compared to that in terms of like how much I dislike it.
Okay. All right. You want to try some, Darren?
Why don't you
Bile's
try it a
like
little
my
bit?
taste tester
Do it.
here. If
Just
you're
drink
guys-
it.
Just
Darian.
see what it tastes like.
Shotgun and natty
it,
ice.
Drink it.
Okay, he's smelling it. What's
smells
the
like
smell?
beer and metal.
All right, what's the appearance before you drink that?
It's totally metal.
Looks like beer. What's the appearance?
Okay, go ahead, taste away. Michael Jackson over here.
Yeah, that's pretty awful.
Okay.
That's
all
pretty
right.
awful.
Say I'm not
So-
alone. Thank you.
All right.
Now
Let's
we,
see.
now we
This-
can play
Why
the
the hell
erasure
do people
song.
make this shit?
I
Like,
Oh, you guys suck.
Someone must buy it. Like, this is what's wrong with capitalism. Clearly, someone chose poorly.
Somebody needs to pick the right beer recipe, and we just
Yes.
have government issued beer.
This
That's
has
what we need.
totally disproved the free market and capitalism. This thing still gets produced.
This thing's
How
actually
is that
got
possible?
like the exact same color as the
Yeah,
banana beer.
That's what I was saying.
That
It
like
does.
amber.
I think I need to drink the banana beer to get this out of my.
the bubbles. You got water too.
I
know,
know
there's,
this is how bad it is.
the bubbles are kind of bigger in this guy.
Actually, it tastes better now. Try it.
It kind of
that's all right.
Give it a sip.
It smells a little astringent. It's
Okay.
kind of how it smells.
So you're gonna close your eyes when you do it. There you go.
Snort it.
You get the smell.
Don't
you get the
be a
taste.
wimp.
You can close your eyes, isolate all that other stuff out.
I need to wash out my nose.
Say pure luxury.
No,
Pure luxury. It tastes very spiced.
spiced.
Very
What
spiced.
kind of spice?
Kind of hard to define. It's got like fruity hints, bits of
Okay.
citrus in it, but like overly spiced. You know
It's
what I'm
Man,
saying?
amazing.
you're just making shit up.
No, I'm
it just
telling
tastes
you.
like
I
shit.
tasted awful. That's what I tasted. I
I'm
couldn't
dead serious.
differentiate it. It was just awful.
He has
Like,
a more distinguished palate for these particular types of
Clearly.
beverages, so
It's
he
got-
can differentiate. here.
clearly.
It's definitely more carbonated, and like I said, it's got the bigger bubbles, so it tickles the tongue, stays warm in the mouth afterwards.
Uh-huh.
And of course, that's the one I got up my nose. Ugh. How do I do this?
Finishes pretty dry.
You know, I bet you the other host won't have me do this crap.
It's got like
They're
like-
gonna have you do worse things.
it's got a bittering to the end of it, like a hoppy type bitterness
Dude.
that kind of makes you forget about the fruit in the beginning,
Okay. Yeah.
and it just I don't know.
Yeah, Perry's just going to have you do partial differential equations.
He is.
I haven't done that in forever. I'd rather drink beer.
Did you ever even take PDs or just take differential equations?
I think I just took Diffie. I don't
PDs
remember.
is like more of the same. It's like, hey, learn another
know-
technique. Now do it 50 times.
Do it over
You know,
and over.
I realized this week that I've been working so it'll be 8 years out of school, which means
pretty good.
like math was like 10 years ago.
You should go back to community college.
Yeah, F that.
no.
Spice the circuitry software. It tastes nothing like Spice. I've used Spice. It tastes nothing like that. Yeah, so overall, I'd say I prefer the banana beer. It's definitely sweeter than this. This has more of the bitter profile. I think what you don't like is the bitter flavor towards
Okay.
the end. You probably really don't like the taste of hops.
It smelled terrible. But,
Yeah,
you know.
that's what I'm thinking.
That's distinctly possible. In which case, you should just stay away from the bitter stuff and the stuff that
I'll just
crappy beer drinkers are always like, oh, it tastes so awesome. It's like, no, it tastes like somebody put a freaking 20-pound bag of hops in it.
Look at this over here.
I will stick with my Magner's hard cider, which I'm okay with. The on tap is much better than
I
in the
almost
bottle.
got you some Sam Smith's hard cider today, but I was like, technically this isn't a cider, it's a beer. So.
Sam Smith?
Yeah. Good brewery, Tadcaster, England.
Okay. All right.
My personal favorite. So what is this you're laughing at in the chat room?
Oh, this here's I'm just picturing him huddled up in the corner telling the trauma to his therapist, and then they made me taste this beer. It tasted like death.
Oh, really quick, while we're on the subject of the chat room, Pangiffany, Bosco at
we're getting a call.
thinkingliberty.net. If you want to know where to mail that ketchup to, ketchup is technically a pickled product because it uses salt and vinegar to extend the life of tomatoes.
Nice. We're
So
gonna hear all
it's
about
pickled
pickles.
tomato sauce.
You know, someone's calling us and Skype is not answering.
Oh,
caller.
wow. We're sorry, caller.
All right.
We're
wait-
trying the best we can.
I'm a clicking.
it's a
the link and
representative
not
from
working.
Will's Brewery.
We're witnessing him click the green button, and it's not doing anything.
You
So
know,
we'll
Skype-
close down Skype, start it again, and
Skype
see if it
hates
works
you.
any better.
Please call again. Do we have their number? We can call them back.
We do. We do have that number.
That would
Yeah.
cost us minutes.
Yes, it would. Actually, you can go to the Thinking Liberty website and use the Google widget, and it will call you for us.
Oh,
Without
I think
charging.
it was Evan.
Oh, of course it was Evan.
'Cause
But
I-
now it's not even. Skype is like shitting the bed. So
Did
whatever.
Evan ruin the show?
He broke the Skypes.
all right.
I'm really kind of
press
wondering
Command Q and get out of that.
if I can get like a pale
Wrong
ale
operating system.
and separate a bunch of banana runts and just like put them in there for a couple weeks in my fridge and if it'll taste the same.
Try it.
That's kind of what I'm wondering. It might.
It might taste better. I don't know.
'Cause it's got that too sweet to it.
So should we take a break and then talk about some 3D printing topics?
Yeah. And why an AK-47 is better than an AR-15?
All right. So when we come back, we're gonna have plastic guns printing, I don't know. What else are we talking about? Some other stuff. So stay tuned.
Drugs.
All right, so we're
Okay.
talking about cool things when we come back.
Guns
So
and drugs.
Don't miss it. ThinkingLiberty.net. And we are back on ThinkingLiberty.net, where we always stay on topic, on the ball, and on bombast.
What?
Did you bring a ball?
Yes.
We should have Thinking Liberty, the basketball game.
I don't think I have.
And we just
a
put the
ball
mics on the
here.
ground and play basketball in this room we're in right now, where things would get wrecked up terribly.
I was thinking we would just get
There's a lot
those
of
giant
electronics to
balls that
break.
you like bounce up and down on.
I cannot imagine
You gotta
you
get an
on that
inflator
thing
for that.
being in any way elegant, Darian.
I remember a party at Biles' place once where for some reason I brought playground balls, and it was like a bunch of people getting drunk, and like there was like 3 playground balls or something, and it was just like, this is like the worst idea ever. Like this is just asking for things to get broken. These random. So I think
Those balls were so cheap too. I mean,
they were from the dollar store.
yeah, one of them landed behind the arcade machine, and I think stayed there for a year. And then when we found it, it was almost like completely disintegrated. And it's not even like it was being hit by sun or anything. It just died.
Just as soon as you get one of those playground balls in your hand, though, you just want to peg somebody right in the head with it.
Darian's a good target
I think we should play dodgeball.
right now.
If you can dodge a wrench, if you can dodge Miles' laptop, you can dodge a ball.
If I throw this one laptop, the best laptop that I have would I could throw, it wouldn't actually affect the show. Though I might get disconnected from the chat room. Not that.
Oh, well, then people in the chat room, you'd know what happens.
Yeah.
We've
I
got-
could throw my tablet at him, or my phone, or my cool Clarity HD Bluetooth speaker.
That's a
I
really
really
sweet
like this
speaker.
speaker. Speaking, let's do a quick tech thing just for me. So recently I bought this Monster, which I usually hate Monster. You know, they sell
I'm
those
surprised
over.
you bought anything from Monster.
They usually sell really
Gold-plated turds.
yeah, overpriced like cables. But for the price, this Clarity HD Bluetooth Monster speaker is really nice. It's got good bass, it gets pretty loud, and it's only like $70 on Amazon.
Yeah,
Amazon.thinkingliberty.net, actually.
that's a good website. What's
And,
that called
it's-
again? Amazon.thinkingliberty.net.
Yes.
All right.
And it holds like a 6-hour charge. So it's really nice. I brought it into work on Friday and closed my office door because all my coworkers who are in my office.
And you are occupying Wall Street.
Not on Friday. Well, I get sort of, but I like blasted my music. And then I also bought this other cool Bluetooth device. It's a Sony Ericsson MW600, and it's a Bluetooth adapter, so you can like connect to your phone and then listen to music with it. Has like a 6 to 10 hour battery charge, and it was nice. The clip came without a spring, so I contacted Amazon, told them, and they're like, "Oh, we'll give you 20% off if you want to keep it." I'm like, "Hell yeah!" So I took a paper clip and like shimmied it in there to make like a spring out of it. So I saved like $9 on it, but it's really nice so far. I used
Nice.
it today for the first time. And,
I've been considering, speaking of the Monster thing, getting a nice speaker for the prep room that I work in, so that I can blast my like Wheezy stuff really
Just
loud.
blasting
Because
Wheezy all day.
yeah, I've got the one dude I work with is like super like neocon man who thinks like everybody, nobody should ever cross a border is his like big thing, and he absolutely positively hates, in his words, the hip hop. So I think it's only appropriate that I get like a nice speaker, and that can fill a room. That speaker can fill a room.
I'm amazed. Like, okay, so these Bluetooth speakers, they can go up to like $400, but for the price, I'm really impressed by this.
It's like
they're-
$50, right?
This was I think 70-ish.
Okay, all right.
You can get some that are cheaper. If you go online, you can find different reviews. This one got like the best review without hitting like the $100 mark.
Right. You can't really put a value on making a coworker freak out and hit a wall, though.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's true.
definitely
And
worth $70.
This one actually, if you have it hooked up to your phone and you get a phone call, you can press the button and it turns into like it'll answer the call, and there's a microphone in it and stuff too. So
Nice.
like it's a pretty nice setup, and it uses a micro USB connector to charge it, so it's very convenient. Like I just walk around the house with it. I'll grab my phone. Like you mostly listen to music in my bedroom with it, so I'll just turn on my phone, start playing music, and then walk into the room with them in my hand.
Very
And
cool.
it's and it comes with a fancy bag. Look at this bag that I got.
That's
All right,
awesome.
so all right, that Bluetooth thing. All I have to do is like discover it on my device, and I could send audio to it.
Yep. But
Okay.
it's not you can pair two devices with it too, which is kind of cool. So if you have like one Bluetooth device using A to DP to send music to it, you can have like your phone, like a separate phone connect to it. So if you got a phone call on one device, it would override the music from another device. I don't know how
okay.
useful that is, but it's kind of cool. Like maybe if you were listening to music on your computer and then the phone call came in, you could still answer it and stuff. So
Now,
it's pretty
how would you
interesting.
set things up so when people call you, it just starts blasting Lil Wayne in their ears? Can the speaker
you would have-
do that, or do you have to do that on the phone?
You're gonna have to do that on the phone.
Yeah, my phone won't do that.
My phone when you
There's no. I'm surprised that there's no option on an iPhone to just do that.
To just annoy
Like,
people.
If you shake it, it just goes into annoy the hell out of people who call you mode.
no, it's kind
It has that thing where if you touch the side, it drops the call. You figure they'd have another feature like that.
Huh.
can you speaking of which, can you guess what my ringtone is? It's sufficiently dorky.
Oh, it's
It's from a video game.
It's marimba.
I was
Guess-
going to
guess
guess
the video game.
Transformers sound.
No, no.
Final Fantasy.
E.T.
No.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
E.T. from
Come
E.T.
on,
Yeah.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
Dude, what would the music from E.T. be like as a ringtone? Like,
No, I mean the video game E.T. The one that was so terrible.
No,
they took
yeah.
all those copies and buried it.
have you heard the music though? It's like, it's sound effects.
There
is
you
what
go.
it is. So it's just like weird. You fell in a hole sound.
That's it. That's what it's gonna be.
All
All right, he's gonna.
here we go. He's playing it.
No, he's not.
No, he's not playing it.
There it goes. Sounds like Zelda.
Zelda?
Yeah.
I am offended, sir.
Mega Man?
Yes, which Mega Man?
Oh yeah, right. I'm lucky
What?
I even got Mega Man. I never even played through the series.
Mega Man
The-
3?
you
people
There.
Pretty
suck.
sure I've never played Mega Man.
You've never played
Get
Mega
out of
Man?
my house.
The most Mega
What's
Man.
wrong with you
the
people?
most Mega
We'll
Man I
have to
ever
rectify
played.
that sometime.
The intro music to Mega Man 3, the best
I knew it
music
was
for
Mega
any
Man
video
3.
game ever.
Yeah.
The most Mega Man I ever played
Ah.
was when Mike left the controller sitting there, and I picked it up and was just shooting random stuff. And he came back and he's like, "You know that cost me ammunition in all those different suits." I was like, "What? I didn't do anything. I have to go to the bathroom. Goodbye."
You mean when you picked up someone else's game and ruined it for him?
Yes.
All right. That's what happens.
You people disappoint me. Mega Man 2 and Mega Man 3 both had music made by a guy whose I think pseudonym was Don Don, and it is some of the best video game music ever made. If you go to ocremixes.org, which is like a great website full of video game, like random people doing covers of video game music, Mega Man is one of the biggest in those two games in particular. There's like whole albums. They just released a Mega Man 9 cover album. There's like 4 or 5 albums just for Mega Man.
I don't know. I think Guitar Hero has better music.
False.
Oh, wow. You know what's kind of cool about Guitar Hero, just at least as a teacher? For a while, like the kids I talked to, we were like picking up Guitar Hero, and they're like, "Yeah, we love all these classic rock songs." I'm like, "Why do they love all these classic rock songs?" And I'm like, "Oh, they're in Guitar Hero." They're like, "Yeah, we spend hours a day playing Guitar Hero, blah blah blah." And
Hours a day.
I'm like, "Why don't you just play guitar?" I'm like, "It's kind of like Guitar Hero, but the payoff is way later."
All right.
And you'll get chicks.
Yeah, and they're like, no, we're playing Guitar Hero. Now there's actually kids who started playing Guitar Hero like middle schoolish level, enough that they realized it was dumb, picked up actual instruments, and have formed bands based on their mutual love of Guitar Hero and wanting to play classic rock songs.
There you go.
So it's kinda
Remember
cool.
that from South Park when, the father came in because he plays the actual guitar? He's like, yeah, I can play the actual guitar. And then they say, dude, that's gay.
They have a game now where you can play an actual guitar, or it's coming out, I forget. but
Probably.
you can play an actual guitar in a Guitar Hero style.
Interesting. It's a new instrument.
Interesting.
I
I
want-
want you to stroke your beard when you do that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I'm waiting for Theremin Hero. That's what I'll pick up.
There's some
Would
things
Trent
on
Reznor put that out?
on the chat room. It says Marble Madness used to infuriate me. Speaking of old school games, God, Marble Madness. I haven't
never
played
played
that.
I remember
that
Marble
game.
Madness.
How about you remember Qbert?
Yeah.
I never liked that game either.
Megan, I think, is a fan of Qbert.
Galaga or Galaga?
Galaga.
Yep.
However you wanna
Galaga's
pronounce it.
good.
Yeah.
I like shoot 'em ups.
Even
Well,
I've
everyone
played
plays
that.
Asteroids because that's everywhere. So
Pretty sure I've never played Asteroid.
you've never played it.
Really?
Communist are you?
Dude, it's
Man.
that's
We
like
gotta-
played Galaga.
We
All
gotta
right.
take you. There's a sweet arcade.
Asteroids is a hidden game in like 50
Like an
different
hour from
programs.
Okay,
Just don't play the Atari 2600 Asteroids. That one sucks.
I'll
You
keep
gotta
that
play
in mind next time I see an Atari 2600.
I can go get one for you. I have one in the
Okay,
other room.
that doesn't surprise me.
There's a vector graphics game that was in a tabletop version. I think it was called.
Vetrix. Vertrix.
Was it Battle Tank?
Oh,
Battle
you mean that?
I
Yes.
played Battle
So, I
Tanks.
I was talking about the arcade,
That's
the
good.
machine,
Okay.
the home
Okay.
machine that was
Oh,
a
okay.
vector.
No. I'm talking about like the arcade one.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, what I found out about that while I was researching Morse code is that the programmer who made it had an introduction to Morse code, and the introduction he said it said like "Go USA" or something like that. When they asked him what did this mean, it actually said "Don't register." It was like an anti-enlisting type thing that he managed to put in the beginning of his code for his vector graphics game. I was like, that's pretty cool.
Cool.
And
Nice.
then after that, I started playing TurboGrafx 16, and that was pretty good. So, yeah. I played Bach straight through.
The first one?
Yeah, the first one, second one.
The first one's mediocre.
Yeah.
The second one is great. The
Yeah.
third one, meh. You get to be like super
yeah,
bonk.
actually
but-
fighting King Drool, that was always a fun thing. Like, oh my gosh, I'm fighting this big old dinosaur with a giant head.
in the second one, which was the one that I had first, because I don't remember. I just didn't buy the first one. I don't remember why. But you start off and it's like, easy mode. You're
Yeah.
like, oh great. I've never played this game. I'm gonna play it on easy. It only gives you like 2 levels. The only way to make it through the game is to play it on expert.
What was that game that you just got recently? Was it Samurai Showdown? Was it you got?
Ooh, Samurai
Recently.
Showdown's a good game.
Yeah, there was something that you got recently, apparently, that you couldn't get before, like some sort of attachment. That now you're able to play a game that you couldn't play before.
He had it on the Neo Geo
Yeah.
cabinet.
Yeah, there was
going on?
because you made an announcement on Facebook, I think it was.
I was
And
talking about.
what were you
mean
talking about?
recently?
Yes,
They're
recently.
Radiant Silvergun.
That's the one.
Radiant Silvergun,
That-
best shoot 'em up
yes.
ever.
Find love.
I think
Best
I-
shoot 'em up.
I think
ever.
I played that
It's not a
one
shoot 'em up.
time.
That's a
ever.
really crappy.
It's a
Sega.
shoot 'em up the way I look at
But
it.
it's
I
not-
still
isn't it
have
an on the
that.
rails game.
When I sold my Sega STV board with Radiant Silvergun, I forgot to include the stupid cart for free, the Find Love. So I still have it. It's probably worth like 10 cents. I should mail it to Meehan.
You should.
because it's his game.
Actually, I am making up a care package for him. So I will bring the care package up here before I mail it. So far, I'm putting in it spaghetti sauce, pruno, and some other random crap.
I'm gonna put Find Love and
some
a bag of
Sterno in there.
turds.
That sounds like you really care. That's like
It does. It
Just,
does.
just give him a care package that's worth $26.63, and then just put Darian's name on it. By the way,
Oh yeah, that's $26.63 on the tables for you.
You know,
by the way,
I
Derek.
just noticed that there is an envelope with my
Yep.
name and an amount of money written on it. So
funny
So that means you're
story.
giving
His
it away.
has a bigger number than mine does.
Yeah, you sold
I don't even
a.
know where mine went.
You sold a 32X and a Sega CD is what Bile sold, and he
Yeah,
sold
which
it.
actually
have a
was it
32X.
was the 32X that Darian gave me, but he gave it to me, so I get the money for
Well,
it.
the best thing is you sold it to some random guy in Fishkill, New York, and I'm like, dude, I'll just.
I know Fish.
I'm like, dude, I should just give it to somebody that I know to drop it off for me. But I was like packing it up, and I'm like running out of packing material. I'm like, what else can I use? I was like, oh, I've got this CD full of pirated games that I can't put anywhere else. I'm like, and he just bought the Sega CD. I'm like, I'll ram these in there. So now he's got all the pirated games too.
Yeah, that's the nice thing about the old video games machines is that there's
tough.
no sort of copyright protection.
Oh,
so that wasn't until like the PlayStation. Actually, that's not entirely true. Well, it was. I guess it wasn't piracy protection so much, but the 3DO actually encrypted their games. So that's sort of why development for the platform never really materialized because you had to encrypt, and I don't think anyone's ever got the key. Or the guys who created the FreeDo emulator may have, but they've been real secretive about stuff. I don't even know where the project is anymore. But
The Dreamcast had like a wacky device. It had the GD-ROM as
Yeah.
opposed to the plain old regular CD, but that's not
That didn't
much
work
of a
real
pain in
well.
the butt,
So-
yeah.
we're going to talk about some 3D printing too.
Yeah,
Sweet. What are you
just
printing?
3DO or ColecoVision, like Erica put up there.
Where's
So,
our rep representatives in the chat room?
You mean Garrett? Garrett?
Yeah, where's Garrett?
I don't know.
he,
He's got something better to do.
well, I
He's
know
in
his
New Hampshire now, isn't he?
Probably.
he may be. I know his car like broke down in the middle of Delaware or something this last week, which is part of the reason he wasn't able to make it to Maker Fair.
That stinks.
That's what Annie told me.
He would have
Oh,
liked it.
so how was Maker Fair?
that
I
I was
didn't.
there.
I really should have gone, but
I was too lazy to go. I stayed and watched Star Trek. See, if you were here earlier, you would have heard me say that I was watching Star Trek.
If you
Next
were
Generation.
listening to the show earlier, like you could have been on your phone,
That's true. You've got a smart.
I had to prepare for the show and make sure I got off on the right bus stop.
It's not that hard.
do
You
you-
wait for Mitsuwa, and then you go
two more stops.
and then
Darian's
that's it.
preparation is very difficult. He has to sit on the bus and go, "Don't piss yourself. Don't piss yourself. Don't piss yourself." Then he walks in the door. He goes, "Yay!" and he pisses himself.
That's not really what happened.
I don't even know how he came up with that one. I was like, wow,
That's mean.
that was kind of mean.
Yeah,
is that
well,
mean? Why
that's what happens when you drink a bottle of banana beer and you're working your way through the bottle of Dogma.
Awfulness.
That's 7.8% alcohol
This
by
is-
volume.
This is what happens when you hate yourself for bringing such shit to an otherwise good show.
At least we're not Wheels Off Liberty.
I gotta agree
True.
with the host on this one. I mean, we sampled a lot of shit. Not just sampled. Okay, they sampled. I finished. That's the worst part. That's the worst part.
Well,
is
if you could convince Tennyson to start drinking, or bring someone else on the show that'll drink.
you can convince Tennyson to start drinking if you hide it in his food.
That's
what you
Actually,
gotta do.
some of our some of the other guest hosts that might be coming on.
Well, they'll throw him down, right?
Does Perry drink beer?
Yes.
Perry drinks beer. Jim drinks beer. I don't know. Does Elizabeth drink beer?
Yeah, she'll tolerate it. You know what? It looks like the show's going to be on Thursday from now on. So how do you feel about it?
That's fine
I'm
with
down
me.
with Thursdays.
That's fine with me.
Good.
I don't know
Yeah.
how often the show will be yet. We still have to work that out. But
So
it's looking
currently-
like it's gonna be
Once,
Thursday.
once every 4.5 weeks.
Currently, we have 3 people. Right, 3 people offering to to offer are offering to be guest hosts, regular guest hosts. We've got Perry, Elizabeth, and Jim Lazinski.
Yep.
And I've set up like a shared Google Docs, and that way we can clearly see how many hosts we have for a show. And so I don't know how many times a month we're gonna shoot for, or we'll figure it out. I think probably best if we move it to every Thursday, and then I'll ask all you guys to just fill in when it is
When
you think
you can show up, yeah.
when we
Yeah,
can show up.
I
And then
looked
we'll-
at the doc and I didn't know what it was. There's just a bunch of red squares with X's in it. Like, wait a minute, I can't do any of this stuff.
Well, at first I put whether you could show up or not, but then I figured maybe a maybe would be good. So if you put yes, no, or maybe, and
Yeah.
it colors it green, yellow, or red, so we
Right.
can easily see
And then,
what's going on.
Oh,
and
you
then
have a-
when we can be on the show, we'll come in with our hair all frazzled and our shirt buttoned wrong, and be like, "Why are you on my show? Get out of here!" Get out of here."
That's what you'll do. I'll laugh. I'll bring more beer. That's what I'll do.
I should mention that we have a voicemail on our Skype thing. It's actually, I think it's from Evan. So.
Yeah, probably because I turned off Skype and I forgot.
Do we
to
want
turn
to
it
listen
back
to
on.
it
Should we
first?
listen to it
and
on the
hear
air?
if there's a lot of cursing.
All right, but yeah, we also got to talk about this 3D printing and about the drugs.
Okay, so what's this issue with the 3D printing? Let's get back to that. So
people are 3D printing up gun parts. I mean, rifle parts. Beautiful stuff here.
Okay, all right. So
here's
go for it.
all right. So 3D printing, first of all, maybe someone would describe it a little better, but it's basically
3D printing,
you
right?
print-
You have a device that extrudes something that when it cools down is going to become solid. So usually it takes basically a strip of plastic and extrudes it in small amounts and it becomes solid. And if you can move that thing in 3 dimensions, so if you move back and forth on say the X and Y axis, you can make whatever you want to make on a 2D plane and then move up on the Z axis and you can construct anything you can conceivably think of
Pretty much.
within the range of your table using this extruded plastic. So that's 3D printing. Great for all kinds of stuff. I've seen like bungs for carboys and stuff like that made out of it. Small parts, washers, things like that.
Pretty much anything that you have in your house or apartment, you could probably make out of a 3D printer. Your
If
chairs.
you can dream
yeah.
it, you can build it. Well, the issue is
Flatware,
mainly
utensils.
size, right?
Yeah,
because it's limited
And
to the
resolution.
size,
Material.
size of your table and resolution. Yeah. So
material.
Resolution's actually pretty good for even for like the bad stuff.
Not if you were me and you're building a table that's ginormous. So I want to print like bookshelves that look pixelated and stuff. So I feel like I'm in an RPG.
It's good down to 3 millimeters, even the bad stuff. So
Okay, so what's the controversy? So there's the thing. What's the controversy?
I don't know if it's really a controversy, but there was
is
a
now.
blog. All right, now we have just declared this controversial.
We got to be more like the mainstream media. Listen to us, because we're going to tell you the next thing that's going to kill your children.
after the
A new
Thinking
controversy has emerged of something I'm about to make. It's a controversy because we're gonna
Yeah, we made it a controversy,
controversy
dude.
about it.
Yeah, this is going to kill thousands of millions of hundreds of people
Hopefully, bad people
every second.
All right. So there's a blog post that somebody 3D printed a 5-round magazine for an AR-15 rifle. So it looked pretty cool. The entire thing, including the spring, was actually made out of this plastic material. And then the blog post goes on to show I guess the plans or diagram.
I think
I'm
that
not
was
sure,
somebody's response.
blueprint or whatever you call. Do you call it a blueprint? Plans? What do you call the
We've got the
schematics.
caller.
schematics? All right, whatever. All right, so
Hello?
Oh,
Hey,
Whoa.
hey, caller.
Hello?
is this an
Can I get
actual
a car? Can I get a car tomorrow morning at 9 in the morning to take me to the airport?
to the airport? Which airport?
Newark, 9 in the morning.
Newark's not bad from here. Newark's doable.
You guys pick
RFK.
me up at 9 in the morning and just bill it to my company?
Well, I'm going to be working, but
Yeah. I mean, he's already at work.
we can
before-
charge you a
before 9.
20% commission for finding you a car to take you there.
Now, Darian has a car, and
You
he
guys-
doesn't
you
have
guys-
anything to do.
You guys don't have cars? What the fuck? This isn't making livery?
We don't have cars.
We're
We
gonna
don't
have
believe
to
in
edit
cars.
that one out. So, all right.
We're going to 3D
You guys-
print
you guys-
ourselves some cars.
This isn't thinking livery?
No, not thinking livery.
King livery.
Yeah.
We don't have cars. We have horses, dude. I mean, a lot of people still use the old name,
Sorry,
but we actually
sorry.
believe in
I
the
have
old
the wrong
name.
number.
All right, there we go. So,
All right, thinking livery. That was a good one. That was a good. I kind of appreciate that. Thinking livery was nice.
this was something that Nick Spanos had in mind as well, because he has a URL that he owns, which is called liverycab.com, and he hasn't really done anything with it yet. But eventually, he says he will. Something will be done with it. He's going to
that
toss
sounds
that out
like
there.
Nick.
Yeah,
Nick
he's
has
got a lot
tons
of.
of
He's got a bunch
domains.
of domain names. No, he's going to do something with them eventually.
Eventually, that's when the world will end.
I actually,
he's building them up for his giant plan.
I actually saw if you search Google for junk grabber, that my site comes up like second. The number one site is this definition on Urban Dictionary. I'm like, sweet, somebody has defined this term. Like, this is awesome.
Is it right?
It's pretty
what you do?
homophobic, but yeah, it could be right. I mean, you pay me the right amount, we could make
I
it the
will
right
grab-
definition.
Right.
So we were talking about 3D printing.
Right.
Okay,
I guess you
And
could.
the AR-15 magazine.
I guess you could print out some livery.
You know what really threw me about this blog was the way they talked about it. The guy was like, whoa, first off, it only holds 5 rounds. You know, all this different thing they're going through. And I'm like, dude, you made a 5-round magazine. Like, whoop-de-doo. It's not that complex. And, like, it only holds 5 rounds. There's no real giant controversy here. Like, you have people gluing together, you know, 2 5-round magazines to make a 10-round magazine. And that's pretty common to see on the internet. Like, people talking about how to do that.
So
This reminds me, there was another controversy on a website. What the hell is it? It's IKEA Hackers, I think it's called.
Yeah, I
So-
love that website. by the
Right,
way.
so they had a post a couple weeks ago where a guy found some random part for at IKEA that happened to fit his like it was a Ruger 22 pistol, and I guess the slide was a real pain, and so it like fit into some place, so it was like easier to pull back the slide, and people freaked out, and he ended up taking down the post. And so, like,
What?
So, 80% of the people were like, "I'm so glad you took it down. You know, it's horrible to, you know, you're fixing a gun." And then 20% of the people, including myself, were like, "Yeah, we're not following this feed anymore because you're a loser because you took down a stupid post."
What? That's
It wasn't.
absurd.
It was in no way controversial. Like, he took some piece that happened to be at IKEA and screwed it into the side of the gun,
That stinks.
and that was it. It wasn't even a hack. I mean, it was just like, here's a piece that'll fit. Right threads and everything, and yeah, it was really
that
lame.
stinks. You know, leave it to Perry Metzger, but he had a fantastic name that I actually had to look up. A lot of his posts, I have to like look up the words that
Yeah,
are in his
so-
posts to figure out what the heck they mean.
we're never
These
going to finish
$5
the
words.
story.
But it was,
We'll
but
get-
it was,
we'll
it was
get to it.
something. Well, it's about what we're talking about, and it applies to Bile's story too. It's about like something phobia, which basically means like the-
hoplophobia.
Hoplophobia.
That's a pretty standard one.
Okay, fine, make me feel dumb.
Oh,
I see how it
come
is.
on. Come on.
So what is it?
Freud.
So
Even
it's
Freud.
like it's a fear of weapons. So he said, you know, this is tinged with hoplophobia, just like the IKEA hackers thing. It's like, well, really, why are you scared of it? It's not like the guy's, you know, saying, hey, go out and shoot people. You know, hey, I found this really cool IKEA
Someone
thing
could
that's
get
great
hurt.
for killing homeless people. Like, no, he didn't say that. He said it fits this particular thing and it works this way.
It's also good for killing rich people.
But there's, I don't know,
We're
there's this,
egalitarian here.
this irrational fear of, granted, I may be hoplophilic, if I can make my own word.
Hoplophile?
I may actually really like the stuff because I think it's cool
It's
and fun
pretty
and
cool, isn't it?
makes neat noises and things like that. But at the same time, like, there's no reason to just randomly be afraid of it because of what it is.
I mean, you're more of a technophile than I.
Okay, that's the nicest file word I've ever been called.
Yeah.
So on this post we're talking about, so somebody showed schematics for printing the lower receiver of an AR-15. Now, for those of you who don't know, the AR-15 semi-automatic rifle, there's an upper receiver and there's a lower receiver, and the lower receiver is the part that counts as the gun.
I
So
see.
to purchase a lower receiver requires the paperwork for a gun. However, what this blog poster was unaware of is that manufacturing a lower receiver or any firearm does not require any type of licensing by federal law. You know, I'm sure there are state laws in effect,
All right.
you know,
The
depending on your state.
manufacturer, but the carrying is going to be. Yeah.
Well, you can manufacture for your personal use. You cannot manufacture for sale without a federal license, according
right.
to the law.
You need
So-
an FFL for that.
so basically, the thing is, you know, a plastic lower receiver might work. A
couple
It's not gonna.
times.
I don't know how hot the lower receiver gets.
I don't remember the
not
receiver
sh-
getting too hot.
Not really sure. You know, obviously anything that's going to be a moving part is not.
The thing is, it doesn't move. Apparently, it's
the
supposedly
inside the thing that's grabbing from there.
yeah,
so-
it
Right.
supposedly locks in, and then everything happens basically in the barrel, and then it moves out. So it's basically there to cycle bullets.
Well, yeah, but I mean, the lower receiver doesn't move, but it's just like a big
it's
thing
big
that
piece
all their
of
stuff
metal.
go
It's
inside.
a push
yeah.
tray. It's a push
Right.
tray.
But the things inside it move, which is what's going to heat it up.
Yeah, and also the convection from the actual firing of the gun.
Okay,
probably
yeah,
will,
from-
too.
all right.
So I'm not sure how hot it gets, but you know that's something that's out there. I don't really know if it would be better. Well, I can't see it being better than actually milling it from metal. But you know, it might be a fun project.
You know, there are plastics that you can work with that are a lot less I'm going to say, they will melt. They're not going to melt. So they're going to be, more heat resistant resins that you can use when you're doing this.
Okay, so I don't know if they have anything that you can 3D print that's up to
Well, the problem with 3D
sturdiness
printing
of like
is
a
your
a
extruder-
Glock frame or something like
Your
that.
extruder heats it up to
Yeah,
get it to
use-
move. So by its nature, it needs to be.
Yeah. There are
Moldable.
other materials that you can use besides plastic as well. And in fact, you could actually 3D print metal. So that's a whole other thing that'll eventually.
If you
come
can
up.
build the groundwork though of basically a 3D table with the stepper motors, then you can build yourself a CNC machine. You put a router head on it, and worst comes to worst, you just go slow. But you can make yourself, a CNC
Yeah, I
mill,
can-
which is
yeah.
badass.
Yeah, I can
love
see a
CNC
combination
machines.
like a 5-axis CNC machine with a really classy like Z 3D printer put together that you can put like inside a garage or something or a basement, and that you could probably put together a lot of things that you can imagine.
See, but then the government's just going to ban chunks of metal. That's what's going to happen next. They're going to be
Damn, I
determined
can't
by
buy
some
these
federal
steel ingots
law
anymore.
to be like a precursor to something, and then metallurgy will become popular, and people will be like, "Oh yeah, how do you hammer out aluminum and however the heck they make metal?" I honestly don't know too much about making metal, so
Darian knows.
You
Yeah,
smelt
tell us,
it.
Darian.
You got to smelt the ore and
It's all about metal. Black
smelt the
metal,
ore, and it
steel
smelt terrible.
metal, the best metal. All metal all the time.
metal.
Yes. that
So,
kind
yeah, so there are various websites that talk about manufacturing firearms. It was the like whole shocked tone of this blog post was kind
yeah,
of
it was
like
pretty darn humorous.
like this. He only showed the schematics, not a printed project, which would of course be completely illegal. Like, oh no, actually, it wouldn't be. So that's out there.
They need to look up more like zip gun stuff where it's like, yeah, put the shotgun shell in the tube, hit it with a hammer, cool stuff happens.
All right. Yeah. Gas powered guns, like with air pressure. That I think is going to be that could be very interesting.
Like
to do.
potato cannons.
Yeah, something like.
I've
that.
seen a potato cannon go through a car door.
Yeah.
So I am convinced. Actually, I'm convinced if I took my Ruger 1022 and I fired it at a car door, it could be as effective as some of the air powered stuff I've seen.
Yeah. But just if they ever decide like to lock down propellants, gunpowder, kind of things like that, and wanted to just have nothing but air pressure, really, really tiny, super pressurized capsules or cartridges that you could use and put on your self-made guns and just fire out projectiles, that would be pretty interesting. So I imagine a world where this is something that David Coppell wrote before, like, it would be impossible to actually ban guns or to get guns off the street because the genie's out of the bottle. People know how to get things to go this fast and that it will kill people or whatever it is that you might need.
I mean, they can just raise the inconvenience factor so that it's
and then
more
eventually,
difficult.
yeah,
for-
eventually that is going to be overcome anyway if people really, really have that demand for it. And I think that they do.
Fantastic comment from the chat room. I'm convinced if you loaded bile into a potato gun, he could totally go through a car door.
I'm thin. I'm not that thin.
Did I ever tell you the first potato gun I ever built? I was living in.
You built a potato gun, and
I
you built more than one potato
I've built
gun.
several, and I built my own valves for them. But I was living in Hightstown, New Jersey, and I was so excited that I made this thing that I wanted to show it off to my dad. So I put it at like a 45-degree angle. I put more pressure in this thing than I had ever had before. I was working
Wow.
with cast iron at this point, right?
this could only go
And
well.
I loaded it up with like a chunk of potato, and my dad's like, "Okay, what happens now?" And I like hit the sprinkler valve. It's like, right? And like my dad looks at it, he's like, "Where'd the potato go?" And I'm like, "I don't know." Like, it went significantly out of our yard. I think it went into those housing projects over there. So somewhere in the housing projects, I was mortaring people with potatoes. Which I decided to stop after I put some bolts in a plastic bag that I just kind of like loosely shoved in the barrel and saw it go through 3/4-inch plywood. And I was like, wow, this thing's got some power. I should probly tone this down a bit.
And after that first dozen times, he was done with that.
Have you seen that? There's a guy on YouTube. He makes his own like slingshots and
Oh, yeah.
scary shit, like ball bearing, like slingshots that put ball bearings through like 1/2-inch plywood or something.
Yep.
Not
It's fun stuff.
and shoot like 30 of them at a time.
Not that I own a slingshot, because actually slingshots are illegal in New Jersey.
I've got a slingshot,
if you-
but not in New Jersey.
If you wanted to own a slingshot, you could go to PA and pick one up. which I live right next to. But the hard thing is like finding somewhere to shoot them. So I can flick marbles in my basement at like one side of the wall all day long, and Megan's just like, "Why are you making a racket in the basement?" But like getting any
Probably
further,
something she says a lot.
yeah, getting any further than that is severely difficult. Like there's no good place to really shoot a slingshot by me. And if you're shooting marbles, you want to go get them after you shoot them, so it's tough there too.
You could just go to the river and start shooting them at Philadelphia.
Launch them over.
I don't think you'll actually make it, so it's cool.
I'm sure that's pretty normal coming from Camden. Like Philly's probably used to taking a lot of gunfire from Camden.
It'll be like, where was I? I think it was in Denmark, and when I was younger, and they had this recreation of an old village from like, the 1400s or whatever the hell it was, and they had this giant trebuchet, and it was big, like several stories high, and they made these special cement balls that were probably a couple times bigger than like a bowling ball. So it was big enough that like it took two guys to pick up or roll into the sling, and they would shoot it. It was used for firing into like at ships. So every day, like 3 times a day, they would fire this giant bowling ball out into the water. They had to make sure everyone was away, in the water. So underneath, clearly there was just piling up what probably looked like Nessie eggs, like on the bottom of the river there. I think it was the Baltic Sea. I don't remember. Black Sea, one of those seas.
That's pretty sweet.
Whatever the hell it was. Maybe it was just a river. But anyway, it'd be awesome to go down there and see all the spheres.
Also on my list of things to build, large pickup truck mounted floating arm trebuchet. Having trouble talking.
Is that because you've been drinking?
Maybe. But I'm Darian's ride home, so it's cool.
Darian, drive yourself home in his car.
2 guys equals 3 biles.
Apparently.
Wow. William Gillis just updated
I'm
on his Facebook
110 pounds and about 5'8". So,
I like the comment, Philadelphia is so ghetto. The actual city itself, the idea of Philadelphia, will shoot back.
I don't even know what
That's
that means.
deep. That's some deep stuff right
It
there.
means you avoid that place and everybody who's associated
Philadelphia is better than New York.
with it.
There. I
In
said
what
it
way?
live on the air.
Being a terrible, terrible place?
In having more diversity, better food.
No, it doesn't.
More things to do.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't have any of those things.
Let's take
Not
them
even
one
a
by one.
single one.
More diversity.
No, it doesn't have that. It's a divided place, and it's mostly just black and white and Asian. That is what I've seen, and also lots of Hispanics.
What about classic angry Italian? They don't get their own.
No, they've kind of left there.
They've
now.
I think a lot of them
gone
live
off,
in Jersey
They've gone
now.
off to the suburbs. They've gone to somewhere else.
So you don't count the burbs around Philly.
No, not really. I mean, I count the actual the city of Philadelphia. I mean,
Okay, all right.
so I mean, in terms of diversity, like when I've been there, no, not diversity. Not things to do.
Important
not-
question.
Well, what are you trying to do when you're there?
Whoa,
Okay,
guys!
sorry,
we have to
sorry. All
interrupt
right,
this.
all right.
We have to interrupt this discussion with an
Pats
important
does, Pats
question.
does.
But does it have better pizza? Answer: No.
Come on.
Yeah, honestly, no.
Exactly.
I've
Yeah,
had
no, it really
I've
doesn't.
had better pizza in the middle of like the Poconos in PA that was much better than pizza I've had in Philadelphia.
Yeah, Philly does not
I
have
don't
better
know.
pizza.
I've never really had pizza in Philadelphia. The best pizza I've ever had is actually around the corner from here,
Yeah.
I think.
I've
You're
had
at the
a
Fort
lot
Lee
of
place,
good
right?
pizza.
What's that?
The Fort Lee place. You really
Yeah,
like.
Pomodoro's.
Yep.
All right,
That
does
place
Philly
is
have
just
better
frickin'
pizza than
amazing.
Cali?
Yes.
I don't know.
Yes,
I've
totally,
had
Everything
it totally
has
does.
better pizza
I've
than
had
California.
pizza in Philadelphia. I've had pizza in Los Angeles.
You know what's
I'd say they're about
better-
even, honestly.
You know what's better pizza than California pizza? That beer you're drinking.
All right, I got when we go.
I don't
okay,
understand
If
how
I
that
ate
could
that-
be. Like
if I
they
ate that
know
droid
how to
too-
have they know how to have good cheese. Like tomato sauce isn't that hard. It's just mashed
It's
up
hard
tomatoes.
for them.
And like dough, I mean, everybody
come
knows
to
how
Los
dough
Angeles
works.
with me. I will take you to places that you will actually love. So,
All right, but you guys were talking Philly and New York there.
Yeah,
before,
Philly
we
sucks.
had the
New York
important.
wins.
Who
That's-
cares?
Philly's better than New York. New York is cleaned and sterilized, and it's really just become too much of a tourist place. Philly, you could still get most.
I don't know about
You're in the
clean.
wrong
Have you
place.
been downtown?
I honestly, I try to avoid New York, so probably
Right.
not.
You know that
We were walking
a friend
around
of ours got assaulted just
Wall
like the other
Street.
week.
Wall Street smells like
I like this is how our
bums.
defense for these particular cities. A friend of mine was assaulted. No. You're much more likely
Just
to get
recently.
assaulted in
Yeah,
Philly.
It was like 9 days ago this happened here. Then my sister got robbed over there just when she was there. I mean, she wasn't really robbed like she was there. Someone like picked her or a bag when she was gone, and that was just things are happening there. I talked to a police officer's wife, a police officer at the NYPD, and she says. Because she was at our house for some reason. And so what was happening was she's saying that the police are simply making up the statistics for the crime things. They keep saying that crime is down and everything is getting better, everything is fine. But it's not true. The police will simply find any case that they can to not bother following up on it. Or if there was a robbery, they said, no, you simply lost that money. Or if there was, like a property theft, like they've taken your bag or they've taken your bicycle or they've taken something, like, no, you simply misplaced those things. And so we don't have to follow up on it.
I think we
And
can
who are you
all
going to
agree.
appeal to? The police are simply lying now. So
I resent that
if you
remark.
see-
Police never lie.
if you see the kind of crimes that are being covered up or simply not being investigated there, you could probably say that yes, crime still exists in the city. Not as much in some places, but definitely in other places.
I think we can all agree that regardless of the Philly, New York thing,
Screw Philly.
Newark, New Jersey,
It's the greatest place ever.
Have you had the Rodizio there?
Actually, Newark Rodizio is fantastic, and I've been meaning to go back.
Did you see Cory Booker there? Isn't he awesome?
Oh God,
He's everywhere.
better than King James.
He's like Vladimir Putin in these Atlantic pictures. First he's flying a plane, then he's driving a race car, then he's arm wrestling some dude and hanging out with a bunch of bikers.
Wasn't he playing basketball in one of those shots too with a bunch of kids?
They made this like 4-part Brick City documentary all about Cory Booker and how awesome he is. And I was talking to a guy who's an activist in Newark. I was just like, yeah, so what do you think of that Brick City documentary? And he was like, no, man. No, that is just awful. He's like, Cory Booker is the biggest joke. He's going on and on about all the horrible stuff this guy did. And he's talking about King James, the guy before him. And he's like, at least that guy, he just knew through and through he was corrupt. Like, you could talk to him and be like, I'm corrupt. If you want to talk to me, pay me. And Cory Booker now has this whole
Pretty boy
air,
image.
yeah, that he's this great and awesome
I
guy.
mean, if he was corrupt, would Mark Zuckerberg give him money?
Mark Zuckerbucker. Actually,
I'm sure Mark Zuckerberg is the best judge of character.
Isn't
yes,
he?
totally.
He has information.
He
on
did it
everyone.
based on Cory Booker's likes. That's what he did.
Oh, I wanted to say something about William Gillis here, because William Gillis wrote in Facebook, he says, so this is what major traffic looks like. I feel like running around and laughing maniacally and throwing my imaginary wealth of internets into the air. And he says, if I knew winning at the internet was as easy as writing down my random musings about Star Wars, I'd be sitting on a throne of solid gold by now. Does Cory Doctorow present me with my crown and hot air balloon, or is that later? And I ask, how major? And he says tens of thousands, and it keeps growing in spikes. I don't know what the cause is, but whatever.
What is he referring to? What particular
Apparently,
thing?
on one of his website, he must have written something about Star Wars, and it got linked by somebody else, and he's just been having huge traffic.
Does it in any
It's
way link
interesting
Star
how that-
Wars and pornography?
I don't.
That's internet gold.
I don't think it does, but I haven't gone to one of his websites.
Oh, okay.
So we shall see.
You haven't been to wharfporn.org yet?
What?
Says you haven't been to wharfporn.org yet.
I don't even know. I'm not going to look that up either.
Get out of my
So
house.
yeah,
See,
You don't
I'm
even
just
know Next
imagining.
Generation characters.
I'm just imagining Mr. Worf
What's wrong
here.
with you
Is that?
people?
Am I
Take
correct?
my
Worf from Next Generation.
Take
Yeah.
my wharf, please.
I'm just.
But don't.
Worf
The-
is Worf.
what
is
does
a good
that have to do
character. I
with
liked
Star
him.
Wars?
Did he say Star
Nothing.
Wars or Star Trek?
I said Star Wars,
Yes, that's
Oh
Star Wars.
crap!
but it's okay.
Oh, you just got your nerd license revoked.
Yep, that's that's
Hand in,
you just gotta
hand
listen
in your
harder.
badge and your gun.
harder.
Listen harder next time. I know it's with the muscle. You have to do it harder.
He's been drinking.
He's been drinking.
Speaking of Worf, I actually watched an episode of Star Trek Next Generation the other day that it's interesting going back and watching like an entire series and its
Couch
completion.
activists link this thing here.
And so there's this one episode where Data happens to be the captain because other people are out and away, and Worf is the second command. And Worf keeps questioning Data. And when I was younger, I never know. Like I remember this episode vividly, but this one part where Data like freaks out on Worf, and it's really awkward because Data then says something like, "I hope I'm sorry if this ruins our friendship." Who would say that? It just doesn't make any sense, except for the fact that he's a freaking android.
Wouldn't you say that?
No.
Oh.
Oh, well, maybe if I was an android. But it was just, it's really weird dialogue, but it was really intense. And Brent Spiner is, like, good when he does these weird, intense things.
Has he done anything other than
He put out an
Yeah.
album. But,
I've seen him in a
other
couple
than
things
that-
since then.
From what I understand, I didn't watch all of Enterprise, and I guess the last episode of Enterprise somehow includes the characters
Oh, you
and actors.
you haven't gotten to the end of Enterprise?
I watched like the first season, and then
Oh,
I
yeah.
stopped paying attention.
At the end of it, because I don't want to ruin it for everybody, but I guess I may as well. At the end of Enterprise, you realize that the entire show has been a holodeck representation of these logs from the past, and so it's just
That is terribly
Yeah,
lame.
and so it's just Riker and I think it's Deanna Troi sitting there, watching this thing happen. So Riker says, "No, pause simulation," and then you
Right.
realize the whole thing has just been something from the
recreation.
holodeck.
I'm glad you warned everyone about how crappy the
Spoiler.
show is.
Wow.
No, I mean, I thought that was pretty good because
worse than the ending of Mario
it made
2.
up for a lot of things for me. It's like, wait a minute, why is there so much missing from this series to make it like a good series? It's because it was a simulation based on incomplete
Total
information.
cop out at the end, though. You think they planned that the whole time?
No,
No,
they didn't.
no.
Actually, I was
The
reading.
series was over.
I was reading that the actors and the fans, like everyone involved, I guess except for the writers, hated the ending and thought it was a cop out. But Brent Spiner wasn't actually in the scenes during that. I guess he's there, but he does a voiceover because he felt that he was too old to have the makeup on for Data, which I'm sure he is.
Couch Activist says, it was all a dream. I used to read Word Up magazine.
Salt and Pepper Heavy Deep in the limousine.
Yep.
Putting pictures on my wall every Saturday. Rap Attack, Mr. Magic, Marley Mall.
They always make like the best songs. The reminiscing songs.
Yep.
Always the best. Always the best.
Darian and I stare blankly at the.
You know that metal song when they reminisce about the time they killed all those other Vikings? That was a great metal
Yeah,
song.
you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Once when we were returning from a battle,
That's
we got
actually a
lost
really
in
good
a lonely
song.
forest.
That's Korpikani, right?
No, that's in Sephirim.
That's okay.
Another band from Finland.
Is that even real?
Oh, it's really good. You actually have to hear the what's that album called? Victory Songs.
Victory Songs. I'm pretty sure we played that as one of our openers once.
It's good stuff. It's definitely good stuff.
Ailstorm opened for Camelot the other day. They're the pirate metal guys.
Ailstorm was pretty good.
I once saw
enjoyed them.
Swashbuckle in Trenton when they played with some other. I actually wanted to see it was one of those few occasions where I wanted to see the opener band, and it was this. It was more like a old school hardcore band that a friend of mine was in that I was listening to. But yeah, Swashbuckle was there, and they ran out with like boat oars and stuff, and it was like me and 3 other people in the audience, and they're running around screaming pirate stuff. It was a good time.
Yay, I'm going to see a show for the opener, too, in a couple weeks. Ladytron is opening with Sonoyo, so I don't care about Ladytron.
Fair enough.
Brent likes Ladytron.
Yeah, I know. I saw his post, and
Yeah.
I told him, he said he's going to be in Oregon or
Yeah.
something. I'm like, I'm going.
Oregon.
I'm
Korpiklani.
seeing a lot of shows in the next couple weeks.
Korpiklani is coming back to North America in the fall.
Wing it.
By
Be a
boat?
good time.
Are they rowing themselves over here? They better.
I don't know. I don't
They better
think
come
so.
over here and shoot a flaming arrow onto Manhattan before they run over.
I don't know if they're really that kind of Scandinavian. They're more like
So they're
the
lame.
lumberjack kind of Scandinavian.
Lumberjack. Oh, there's no trees left in Manhattan. No
Sure
tree
there are.
grows in Brooklyn.
Maybe not Brooklyn.
Yeah,
But there is
Brooklyn too.
There's that big place, the park.
It's in the middle.
Center. Yeah, Central
That
Park.
big place in the middle. I was actually when I was biking back from our friend Mike's house. I was crossing Manhattan and I need to get to the George Washington Bridge from Queens. And I'm going through the middle of Manhattan. I'm like, man, there's a giant freaking park in the middle here. And I was thinking to myself, I'm like, 95% of the people who live where I live would know this. They'd be like, dude, if you cross through the middle of Manhattan, you're going to go through Central Park. Why do you think it's called Central Park? But I didn't know it. I was kind of surprised by that fact. I'm like, hey, there's a giant park.
Yeah, if you ever look at a map and it's just one of those maps where it's like parks are just green, and because there's only 2 roads or something that goes through Central Park. It almost looks like they forgot something in the map. There's just this giant rectangle missing out of Manhattan.
Well, people used to live there, but they all got pushed out and evicted so that we could have this crappy park that's huge.
I've never actually been there, except for in in the virtual world in Grand Theft Auto 4.
Okay, well, that's the same thing. I'm sure it was more exciting that way.
Yeah, I was kind of like dodging cops and running over pedestrians and all kinds of fun
The
stuff.
park by me, speaking of that, the park by where I used to live, they tried to buy the land off of the farmers to build the park, and the farmers were like, no, we don't want to sell you our land. Our crops are more profitable. So they said, okay. So they bought this small snippet of land by a creek that ran through all their properties, and they dammed it. And they made a giant lake, like acres and acres of lake, such that they devalued their, farmland significantly because it was all water. And then they proceeded to offer them way, way, way below market value, at least what it was originally, and take their land from them. It's a really nice story.
You know,
was
if
a
it wasn't
pretty
for
good
government, gangs would just take over people's land.
They totally ran roughshod over these farmers. Like, we own this now.
Well, it's like farmland preservation, where they're like, no, it's okay. We understand property taxes are high, but we want to keep these small farmers going. Look, you don't have to pay property taxes so long as you farm your land. It doesn't matter that you're 65 and you're not going to be able to do this anymore on this 100 acres of land. Just don't worry about it. And then 3 years later, when the guy can barely, lift his arms or whatever, and doesn't farm it for one season, someone comes and inspects. It's like, oh man, you know what? You're going to have to pay us all the back taxes that you didn't pay us before, or you could just, give
Just
us
hand
the
it over.
property. And then they turn around and give it to one or sell it to one of their contracting buddies real cheap who puts up a bunch of houses.
Toll Brothers around here.
I live in a Toll Brothers community.
It's a great scam.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
We've talked about that.
Yeah, Toll took it over because it used to be with somebody else. Anyway,
So we actually had something really interesting else. You want to talk about drugs, right?
yeah. The one of the
Tasty.
yeah, it's actually quite sweet, which is an unusual thing about
We
this
should
drug.
we should actually do a segment of an episode.
I thought you were going to
that's
say we
like-
should actually do drugs.
We should actually do drugs.
We should do a
A
segment of an episode on drugs.
Just a segment, though, like
this-
a
just
clear
a
start and
segment.
event.
Can we, the beer will all sample different types of pot, and cocaine, and
Okay, snap out of it. We're in the second hour now.
All right.
Oh, God.
wake up.
Yeah, the cocaine's going to wear off pretty quick. So.
Well, I was going to say that we should do a segment of a show that is like an after-school special. Where we'll just talk like this.
Darian right now is chewing his right arm off after he gave him the PCP. This is bad, kids.
That's why
Come on, Bile.
you don't touch that
What's-
joint.
What's
He's
it taste
too
like,
strong.
Bile? What's it taste
What's
like?
it taste like?
Like,
How bad does it burn? Do you feel rich yet?
It tastes
Almost.
It tastes kind of metallic, and it's leaking.
the colors hurt.
Well, no, drugs are illegal, so we will never do that. We'll
course.
instead huff spray paint.
Spray paint.
Much healthier.
Freon.
Speaking of which,
No,
the
you can-
PSC&G turned off my gas the other day apparently to do some work. They didn't tell me they turned it off. Then they turned it back on. I have a gas stove. The pilot light obviously was
Oh,
out.
God. That's
Like,
so...
man, it kind of smells like gas in here, but I didn't think anything of it. Then I went and got my mail, and the super's like, "Yeah, is your gas on?" Like, I don't know. Why would I haven't cooked in a couple days? It's like, well, you might want to check because PSC&G was doing something. I'm like, fuck. So I go in there, pilot lights off, take a match, light it. The whole thing just kind of pops. At least I'm not dead.
Bile's busting out his humidor, ready to go. Let me smoke this cigar. Wait a second. Let me check that pilot light.
Just in case.
Speaking of which, Prohibition, someone mentions, there's a Subway ad for this show called Prohibition, and it's like, how did
Oh, yeah,
how
that
did a
looks cool.
nation founded on rights ever go so wrong? And I'm like, if it's such common knowledge that alcohol prohibition didn't work, why are people still hung up on drug prohibition?
They don't call it prohibition. That's why.
Oh, okay.
If they called the drug war drug prohibition, then I think people probably would put two and two together. But instead, they call it no drug war.
Well,
I mean, do they still get mileage out of racial mixing? What
It
are
depends on where you
reasons
are.
they
'Cause
banned it?
That plays sometimes, but doesn't play in some other places. It depends on the audience as well. Younger audiences don't care about that. Older audiences totally flies.
I think a lot of people, if you actually lay it out for them, ask them about drug prohibition, they will say, yeah, no, prohibition of things generally doesn't work. However, for moral reasons, we have to continue.
got to send a message that if you put something in your body that we don't approve of, men with guns are going to kick down your freaking door,
I love
drag you off in chains, throw you in a cage with hardened criminals.
Recently, someone reposted the 1988 Morton Downey Jr. clip
the
of
Ron Paul
talking about the drug war and this sort of stereotypical.
It's a fat guy.
He wasn't fat. He was kind of chubby.
He was fat for 1988.
Maybe, I guess. But anyway, he goes up there. He's got like a crew cut. And he's like, we got to get the military, put them on, we got to throw people in jail and, one strike, zero tolerance, blah, blah, blah. And Paul gets all uppity and he's like, well, why prohibition doesn't work. We don't need people telling us what we can put in our bodies. It's a medical issue, blah, blah, blah. He's like, besides, you're a little fat. Maybe the government should put you on a diet. I wish Paul was that energetic.
Yeah, he's not that way anymore.
I think he does kind of get worked up, but
he gets worked.
But
he's
old. He's also not put in that position anymore.
Yeah,
like on a talk show with Morton Downey Jr. in your face, with a cigarette. I'm pretty sure Paul would freak out even today if he was put in that kind of scenario.
Yeah, probably. All right, so the drugs anyway. Drugs. I went to. I was up in Connecticut first. I took a drive out of my way to try and get some, what I was looking for, and it turns out the dealer was not there at the time. So they went to lunch, talked to the underling. The underling couldn't actually sell anything, so I left, and then I had to catch a train. So I took a train down to the city, and then from there I went to a place. One of my regular spots on 125th Street. No, it was a little lower than that. I went to like 117th Street, so it's Spanish Harlem. And I go there, and it turns out that they're not even there that day. So I have to leave there, and then I just go to the NYC ANCAP meeting. And so now I send somebody else out to go pick up my stash, and it turns out that the stuff is now triple the cost. I don't even know how I can re-up anymore. It's going to be very, very difficult now. Triple the cost? It's crazy.
It's like Netflix, dude.
I know. This is why I dropped that
Or
DVD
Quickster.
plan. Quickster, exactly.
Quickster.
Drop that DVD plan. Just go for streaming, and even though they have a terrible streaming library right now, yeah, we'll stick with that.
I like Amazon Prime. I don't have it for this reason, but Amazon Prime actually has like a good inclusion. Like they actually have all of Star Trek, whereas Netflix doesn't.
Right.
So
yes, I think that
my TV even supports.
I have money that people have sent me for Amazon, so eventually I'm going to just try out Amazon Prime with that money.
It's. I think if you buy more than like 2 or 3 things from Amazon a month, it's totally worth it because it's like $80 a year, and you get 2-day shipping.
Yep.
And you get all those extra perks like the extra stuff. I think with the cloud, you get the streaming stuff. I mean, there's all kinds of random perks that come along with it. They use it as like their test bed for a lot of things. And supposedly, anyone with Prime is going to be able to borrow books or rent books or something in their new service.
Okay.
You're going to be able to get
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
their Kindles. They're going to allow people to rent books, and I think if you have Prime, you'll get access to a bunch of older so any book that's like more than a year out of date or something, you'll be able to rent free, something like that.
Yep.
So
I actually I have the weirdest Amazon shipping issue I've ever had. They've been trying to call me. So apparently they need to ship something to my house that's too heavy to be shipped normally. So I need to be there to help them wheel it into the garage or wherever they want to put it. It's a generator. I bought a generator, right?
Okay.
So they're like, yeah, our shipper's trying to get in contact with you. And they've got this old outdated phone number. I'm like, that's kind of strange. And you can tell like the Amazon sales rep has had to send this email 2,000 times because it comes with this like paragraph explanation of what the type of shipping they need is. So I'm like, oh, okay. So all I got to do is call them, tell them when I'm going to be home, and then they'll come, and then we can put it wherever we want to put it. But I've never experienced that before, where it's not something where like either you got to sign for it and they leave the note on your door, or they just leave it on the porch. Yeah. It's like something that's big enough. They're like, no, you need to be there so we can get
I bought
the
a
thing off
TV
the
through
truck.
Amazon, and yeah, same thing.
Same
But
deal.
it's great because Amazon like makes that really transparent. You don't know and really don't have to care. I mean, they'll give you like a note on when you purchase it saying that it requires special delivery. But usually the shipping
Special
is,
delivery.
It's they handle it really well. And like with this Bluetooth adapter, like I said, the spring was missing, and I just sent them. I filled out a form saying that it was missing. Like you can return it. We'll give you 20% off. Pick one. And they gave me a link. I clicked on it, and I just put in my name, and the order number and instant rebate.
There you go.
Okay. Oh, people are asking on the thread there, what do people do besides Netflix for movies? Yeah, BitTorrent is there, but you can also find things on some downloading sites
Yeah,
like Rapid Share, Mega Upload, etc. People have put things up there.
The problem with BitTorrent is if I don't ever download new movies, in part because of the
Right.
risk. The risk being that many times they put up either fake movies or they'll upload their own movies and watch who downloads
Well,
it.
you got to get peer blockers so you can actually find out who these people are. And you
The
can-
problem
yeah.
is if you're one of the first before they
Yeah,
realize it,
yeah.
then you get put on the list. The better way of doing it is, like, for instance, there's this one website I really love is AVAX, AVAX home.ws,
Right.
and they've got tons and tons of stuff. It's all put up through download websites, and so it's pretty anonymous. You need like JDownloader to
Okay.
make it feasible to actually consume the data you get, but it's a great music, vinyl rips, movies, books, all kinds of crap.
Right. Something
Very
that
impressive.
I find with BitTorrent is that it's best if you're going to download something new to do it pretty soon, like within the first couple of days. And I'm only talking about TV shows. I'm not talking about movies. I'm talking about TV shows. So if you're downloading like that latest episode of Boardwalk Empire or something, like do it either on that same day or like the next couple of days. If you do it like a few weeks later, that's when you're going to get some sort of notification from your cable company about that. So things to keep in mind.
What I found is a lot of the stuff I like is not mainstream.
Right.
In which case, like,
Just realized this.
I can. Well, this is what I'm saying. I can either get it from like Bile or like the other random dude who has it. So like right now, I'm into like early '70s luchador films,
Okay.
which are these Mexican wrestlers in these heroic roles. Which, like, there's only 3 people like seating the stuff usually, so I really don't feel that bad about it because I'm like, well, who the heck owns the rights to this particular thing?
Yeah.
Anyway, you know. So I tend to download that stuff, and for that stuff, it's all pretty much BitTorrent, and that's usually when I'll like leave it open and be like, well, now there's 4 seaters, you know.
Yeah.
Now there's
Yay.
4.
Well, it's like I'm the person on the internet who has published and continues to be the primary seeder for Todd Sheets films.
Yes, Todd Sheets,
So
Prehistoric Bimbos in Armageddon City.
yep. And I've got several movies up on Pirate Bay from him, and I've got Liquid Sky and a
Do you have
couple
any
other.
of his music?
No, I've looked and I can't find it. In
Okay.
fact, he's kind of disappeared. His website, if you I forget what the hell his website is, but it looks like it was put together in the early 2000s, and it hasn't been updated since like 2006. When he said, "I'm about to put out a new film," but I know that he's still alive because I found a YouTube clip from like a year and a half ago of him on the radio. So I have no idea. He apparently just doesn't go online.
Fair
I'm
enough.
going to try to
Maybe-
find an email address and go
Maybe
after
he's on the island where they're building the giant squid.
building the
On an
giant.
island?
Yes.
Is he like, did he make the island himself? Is he seasteading? A lot of seasteading talk recently, by the way. on
Well,
the
there was
interwebs.
the seasteading meetup in
Dude
Manhattan.
gave money.
Yep.
Also, Potfrey was there on Wednesdays. No,
Seasteading just really doesn't sound like it's going to work out to me.
should be fine.
That's in part why. Well,
don't-
at least in the short term, that's why Patri is now doing the it's Honduras, right? The
Probably.
charter city, which is an interesting idea. So the government recently passed a law. I don't know all the details, but more or less, except for federal criminal law of I think it was Honduras, they can.
Okay, they're like
they
they
can do-
leased a city or something.
They can do whatever they want with the property. They can set taxes, provide defense, do all those things. They just can't have any. They can't allow things that would be against the law federally. And the intent is to make it into
It's like Hong Kong.
yeah, sort of try to do what Hong Kong does. Have very open. Make it primarily a destination for what do they call it?
What, tourism, medical tourism?
Yeah, medical
Sexual
tourism.
tourism.
Medical tourism.
There's probably going to be some of that too, but yeah, it's the idea. People have bandied this idea around, libertarians especially, of getting a city that you could just get like a Hong Kong type of thing and just have a bunch of those be a physical, living example that everyone can point to. It's like, yes, the principles work. This is exactly what we're going for. Everywhere else should do this as well. So
the
we'd like to
biggest-
see. I'd
right.
like to see what happens.
The biggest problem is you have to find something. What's your competitive advantage? So in this case, it's medical because medical is so statized in so many places that the idea is to try to use the technologies that exist today, but open them up. Have a place where you can go, just like they do tourism in Europe or they do tourism in India. I guess Patria actually had to do this, or didn't have to, but he did do this. He went to India for some operation or something like last year. Saved, I think he said $80,000.
Wow.
In total. So the idea is, the think tank or whatever it is, the organization that's dealing with this new charter city. The idea is to find things where, being off by yourself without regulation but having to bring, having likely to come there is going to give you some advantage. So that's why medical, because there's such a difference in price and
Right.
stuff that could
Between
possibly.
what it should be and what it
Whereas
is.
like computers, you'd compete with everyone. I mean, there's all these things that you could tell that Patri has gone through a lot of ideas because during the meetup, all these people were throwing out ideas, and he kind of was getting, I think, short because clearly, if you thought about, oh yeah, you could have all these crazy servers and run BitTorrent without having any problems. Like, yeah, you can do that in a lot of places. There's no real advantage to that. You're not going to get a big markup. Like, why would you go all the way down there? Plus, you need all the infrastructure. Whereas with healthcare, you need electricity, and then you can ship in all the equipment. So,
I mean,
I would like to ask, if they're going to run a city, what sorts of criminal things are they going to turn a blind eye to mostly? That's my question.
probably the small things that cops turn blind eyes to today.
Yeah, I think they'd have to take it an extra step further. So I'd say like something like I don't know, large scale money counterfeiting. Maybe not even large scale, medium scale counterfeiting of national currencies. I think they might turn a blind eye towards it. Not like they're going to.
But there's no
they're not
reason.
going to stop it.
There's no
but
reason
they'll
to
probably
even do
something.
that there
Yeah.
because you can do that anywhere.
True.
Yeah, we have a country that does
But
that
it's a-
already. They're
yeah.
called China.
Yeah, but it's a lot harder to do in other places, and they'll try and destroy you. And this place will
They'll
actually
destroy you. They'll shake you down.
Yeah, they'll be like more of, okay, you kind of can't do this, but hey, I'm not really here. I didn't see this. That's what I think would happen. That might be interesting.
It probably will. I just the same principles apply though. Does it make sense for someone to go out of their way down there to do that? And I don't know that.
I mean, it's not about.
Like someone was talking about education. Like who the hell is going to take their 7-year-old down to Honduras? Like it's very unlikely yet, especially at the beginning. Now maybe higher education in a more open forum, but
Well, Hondurans who actually live around there, theoretically, this would be a better place than what
Possibly.
they're accustomed to.
I mean, I guess for medical tourism and for savings of money or property that will be affected by other places, I think that's probably a good choice for initial things to do.
I think.
I mean, it just
It'd be better than Switzerland. That's
I was gonna
the
say. I
idea.
think Darian brings up a good point though. Like if you go anywhere to set up your outpost of whatever type of freedom it is, and you clash with the native culture. So if you say, okay, we're providing this basically for so and so people who can afford it and who can come down and afford to get these medical procedures done, you're going to have cultural issues. Like,
Well,
if you don't mesh with
these
the people,
this
close
is
to
like a huge deserted area that's being divided up by lots of other organizations.
you. If it's deserted, then it doesn't make a
So
difference.
like they're from what I understand, they're taking like 1,200 square miles or something or kilometers, whatever it was, and this charter city, this libertarian charter city, is going to be like 100 square kilometers. I think he said the size of Detroit or San Diego or something like that. So it's big, but it's not like gigantic, and it's out in the middle. It's supposed to be more or less out away from things, and they're explicitly asking for a place that does not have any natural resources because they don't want any reason for the government to come in
Got it.
so
for like oil or
question on this whole thing. I mean, I think it's probably more of an issue with seasteading than with a charter city. But when you have a almost a fiefdom type thing where there's a monopoly on this whole area is owned by a small set of people, does it really make that much of a difference if they say, well, we're libertarians? I mean, are you going to have the same kinds of problems that you would see in any kind of monopoly situation?
I don't know how they said that they're going to set up sort of cascading zones so that laws can be sort of beta tested in different areas. So you would agree to like you would vote and say, well, we want to try these regulations in our area, and if they work, then they would like advertise them to the entire section of like the whole charter city. So they're trying to work out the government, but the idea is to make it very flexible and sort of like open source. So you sort of test it in different areas and then roll it because it's going to be physically a very large or a relatively large. I mean, for probably the number of people that will be going down there initially. So the idea is to try to make it very fluid. And I don't know. I guess ultimately the government of Honduras still owns the property, right? And there's just going to be an initial set of people going down, starting things, and then they're going to roll out like different governance systems depending on probably the area.
Okay, so it sounds like you could have a lot of local autonomy if there are some people who want to try a certain way of doing things.
Yeah,
they have that opportunity.
The way
that won't be interfered with too much.
The way that Patri explained it from a higher level is that the only things that they need to be cautious about are things that will cause the parent country to crack down on the thing as a whole. So that's where, like, if you tried to go in there and just mass produce drugs, their own defense forces would have to try to shut you down or get you to leave because otherwise you put the entire thing at jeopardy. And so as an experiment, it makes sense that the people who are initially offering the services are going to try to dissuade people from doing things that would cause the entire experiment to collapse from above, from the parent or the whatever the hell the country is called.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like to be recognized by other actors, in this case, states, you have to exert some control over your area. In this case, something that they would see as interfering with their ability to make and uphold laws, which certainly, as we saw before, I'm not in agreement with. But if that's how this is going to work out, and they're starting anew, it sounds like fairly interesting. Is this like I don't know if you're about to respond, but I was just going to ask another question. Or is this going to be a stepping stone to seasteading, to an actual seastead, or is this?
Apparently the idea was that seasteading, in a general sense, is sort of a slow moving thing. Like we need technologies, we need all these different things to make it more feasible, and I
was hypnotized by my screen. I'm sorry.
They were going to, before this came up, before Honduras pushed for this. I guess Honduras is in all kinds of bad shape, and they're putting someone in the government is pushing forward all these like education reforms and all these different things. And they were initially going to try to buy a cruise liner and just have it out in international waters and use that as like a mini city for medical tourism.
Should get an aircraft carrier.
That would probably be harder to
nuclear
acquire. America. And then suddenly, like 6 months ago, this charter city law got passed, and now that this seems, I guess, it's cheaper, more feasible, whatever, and they're focusing on this. Now, I guess not all the laws have been like put into place, so it's not 100% yet. But there's, I guess, Peter Thiel has all these people looking into it and of course. There's this organization that's been set up, and they're doing all this research and working with the Honduran government or whoever's involved. So it's separate from seasteading.
Okay, I mean, to be
Similar
honest,
ideas,
when people present seasteading, it's almost like, all right, this is government by the highest bidder. Whoever invests the most has control over this area. Which I don't know if that's actually how it would work out, but I think that's a lot of like how.
Isn't it exactly like it is right now?
Well, yes. So what's the point?
Yeah, but we don't have the most. I mean, at least if you fracture it and you break it down to these smaller areas, then you've got a better chance of being involved in your smaller area. I always get beat up on for localism in this particular argument. But that being said,
part of the idea of seasteading is that you are semi-autonomous, so that if you dislike the governance system where you're at, you can just disconnect.
I can take
and
my
float
aircraft
away.
carrier wherever the heck I want. Yeah.
Exactly.
So you would have the ability to create your own, like you would have some sort of power generation. You would be able to filter water, grow some food or get food, whatever. So if you need to be away on your own, then you can do that for a while, but you can just then connect with a bunch of other people, network with them, maybe plug into some infrastructure if you need to, and float, be with them. And then if suddenly some law gets passed or you disagree with your neighbor, you can just screw this. I'm going.
It sounds like that would require a lot more capital than just
Well, the
going
idea-
to a charter city.
Right, and that's the problem with seasteading is that the Seasteading Institute in part is trying to figure out the technologies to make it so that the capital requirements are lower for
Okay.
seasteading, and that's why the charter city is nice because they don't have to worry about that kind of thing.
And I mean, it sounds like the charter city could be a really positive example. Even if it's not your perfect ideology in practice, you give a little space for people to experiment. And I assume that at least most of it would be open to people from the surrounding area to immigrate into there. And, that would be, something great. Okay, these people, they don't really have much going on economically. And now, look, they're in this area and they like it a lot better.
I guess part of the reason they're doing a lot of these reforms is that because the country is just in awful shape, they have nowhere else to go but deregulate and sort of open things up. And I suspect that, like in many instances throughout history, when that happens, we'll see a lot of growth.
Yeah, and hopefully that the charter city would give them a lot of choice. So there wouldn't be a huge there wouldn't be a ton of startup costs to create your own community within this area. So you don't end up having it where the typical model of exploitation where your choices are destroyed by one actor and then there's like one or two other options that you have and neither of them are that good because you don't have the autonomy to create something of your own. It seems like if they set it up well, then people will have that opportunity. So you'll see actually the best systems come out.
Yeah, and Patri was talking about how they really don't know how, for instance, infrastructure is going to work. They don't know if maybe Peter Thiel comes in with $1 billion and just says we're going to build roads, start off roads and start off septic systems, or however we're going to, or power lines, whatever they need for general infrastructure to get people off the ground to make it easier. It's like we don't know if we're going to try to do that, and maybe we'll collect some sort of tax or payment from people who want to move into those areas to subsidize or to pay for those costs initially, or if we'll just say open it up for anyone to try to build infrastructure, or maybe just divvy it up and say, okay, here we're going to do our own stuff, and then over there you can do whatever you want.
Good person to talk to about this, by the way. Sometime probably Perry, because he
Yes.
has a lot of info.
Also, AFK sporadically here says,
Also, I distinctly remember Patri saying he could kick Biles' ass. True story.
Evan asked whether or not Patri, who is like 110 and 5'4", can kick my ass.
Oh, he
and I'm
definitely could.
5'8".
On that note,
That's what he said. He said I need to bulk up. I said
yeah.
I just would be really, really dirty in our fight, and so
he would. He's
Or I
totally
would-
scrappy when you fight him.
he's 5'4" and my same weight, so he's pretty scrappy too. But I would also bring a gun.
I mean, you wrestled in school, right?
If by wrestle you mean I fought Bosco for that like Danish he had, then yes.
I mean,
He needs the Danish more than I do. On that note, we should probably wrap it up.
yeah, we should.
So let's give it to Darian to wrap it up.
Darian, wrap it up for us.
So this has been another fantastic, bombastic, podcastic episode of Thinking Liberty. You can catch all our archives. You can look at our show schedule and find out how to contact us at thinkingliberty.net. So check out the seasteading, the charter city idea. Check out Occupy Wall Street. If you go to Twitter, just search for the hashtag Occupy Wall Street. You'll find a lot on that. So whatever you can do, wherever you are, freedom beckons. How will you answer? Good night.
Do it better than that.